Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, fight fans. We are live with another undisputed ESFL card, week 7, our final week of the regular season. I'm your host, Frank No Streaming. I am joined in the booth by Ruthless Omni. Ruthless, how you doing today?
Oh, dude, I'm fantastic. These fights are going to be crazy, and I'm so happy to be in the booth with you, my guy.
Absolutely, man. As you just mentioned, these fights are going to be crazy. We've got 6 very high implication fights. We've got, just go ahead and take a look at the fight card. We've got Addict 85 versus Jobe starting us off. TLG Legend versus JMMA. UncleTalent's going to be taking on BoneDoin Work. KYoungButta is going to be taking on Royszn. Loso versus FightNightsFinest in our co-main event. And our main event of the evening, Pryoxis versus EyeGameUWatch. As mentioned, every single one of these fights has major implications for the tournament that we have coming up. There is a major tournament 2 weeks from today, not next Sunday, but the Sunday afterwards. We will have our finals, our tournament, our grand tournament for our first ever champion of the ESFL Undisputed League. And as I had mentioned, man, every single one of these fights has a lot going on. We're starting things off with Addict 85 taking on Jobe. What can you tell us about this fight, Omni?
Well, I mean, it's very interesting to me to see Jobe open up any card, right? So Jobe has had a reputation of being cream of the crop, top talent inside of this game. And in fact, Jobe has a victory over top talent in this game. I mean, he's beaten FightNightsFinest. The only one to beat him this season, but yet he finds himself in a situation where a win by KO can guarantee him the final spot, but he's got to win by KO. I mean, he's got himself in a real tough spot. And then you got Addict, right? And Addict ended up having a victory over and by a decision. I mean, this is a very interesting opening for the card because these are two very top talents. I'm excited for this one. It's very good.
Absolutely. And as we had mentioned, this is all, everything is looking towards our tournament in 2 weeks. Addict 85, sorry, I'm getting excited, so I'm getting riled up.
Okay.
He's already qualified for the tournament. A win here could lead him to a 2 or possibly a 3 seed. But with a loss, if he starts to slide, maybe he ends up in that, 6th, 7th, maybe even 8th seed. And as we both know, going into a tournament with momentum can be huge. If you come in as the 2nd or 3rd seed and you're really feeling yourself, that can set the tone for the rest of the tournament. You can have some big performances, but if you're coming in with your back against the wall, after dropping some tough fights, who knows what kind of mental toll that can take. So I'm interested to see what approach Addict 85 takes here, as well as Jobe fighting tooth and nail to try to get into that last spot. I believe things are set up, and it looks like we are all ready for these guys to get things cracking. We're starting off in our bantamweight division. It's going to be a 10-round fight. It looks like Addict 85 is going to be taking Lee McGregor, and it looks like Jobe is going to be using Jorge Linares. This is going to be a very interesting matchup. What could you tell us? What are you excited for in this matchup here, Omni?
I mean, it's definitely seems fitting to see Jorge Linares. I'm sorry, Jordan. Yeah, I'm thinking it's right now. Jobe picked Linares, right? Because Linares is definitely one of those longer fighters, and he's going to be good with those counters and such. And then you also got Lee McGregor. He's somebody who was added in the second patch or third in one of those updates, right? So this is going to be a very interesting battle between these guys. And if I'm not mistaken, these guys fight in opposite stances as well, which makes it for an interesting battle in the boxing match. You got some chest work that's going to be taking place here. Who's gonna try to get their foot on the outside? And I'm excited, and I might be mistaken. They may have the same stance here, but I'm pretty sure Lee McGregor is going in southpaw, and then you got Jorge who's going in orthodox. But I digress. This is gonna be good. I think we'll have to see how this goes and see if Jobe can do what he's very good at, which is making his opponent miss and pay, and being a good counter artist.
We saw there on the tail of the tape, both guys have a very similar reach. I believe it was McGregor that has a 3-centimeter reach advantage. So, I mean, minimal reach advantage there. But we'll see. As you said, Jobe's so good at fighting on the outside, so good at not being there when his opponent tries to fire back. We'll see if that trend holds true, or if Addict 85 is going to be able to solve that puzzle. And here we go. We are live. Round 1 of our first fight of the day, first of 6 fire fights that we've got coming. Jobe is starting to try to find things with that jab, keeping the center of the ring. I almost said octagon. Old habits coming out there on me. Yeah, both these guys, looking to take the center of the ring. Go ahead.
Man, they're starting off really light, and I like that I'm seeing Addict 85 is definitely, he was doing well at first, as you were alluding to, Rhino in the center of the ring, it looked like he temporarily switched stance there. I think that was just an animation of his footwork. And I like that. The defense coming here from Jobe is pretty good. He did get caught with a jab, though, but he's defending his body well.
For sure, Addict is starting to at least look like he's trying to work the body. Maybe fighting for a longer fight, you know, trying to make that investment early. We'll see if it starts to pay off for him. A good three-piece combination there. He catches on the inside with starting off with a nice counter jab, following up with the 2 body shots. Jobe looking to get it back, but once again getting counters to the body there.
Yeah, he keeps. It looks like Addict 85 is finding a rhythm with that rear hook to the body, and he's doing it after he opens up with a jab. And as you can see there, his second shots it's a good counter shot for both those guys. His second shot is typically to the body, and he just paid for that. As you saw there, you saw that Jobe ended up with 2 solid hooks up top, and then he disengages, and that's what really could set up and make a big difference here. That I'm gonna hit you and get away, right? I'm gonna find that opening.
We're also going to see if quality versus quantity makes a difference, because Addict is landing quite a few shots. I'm seeing a lot of left-handed shots, both to the head and to the body here, starting things off. He's landing quite a bit, but it seems like Jobe might be landing the heavier shots. Again, we'll see later on if we get to the judges' scorecards what they're looking for. Bit of a late right hand there, but you know, there's no penalty for it, so I guess why not let it fly?
Take a point from this man. You know, somebody, and I hope that we can talk about it soon, but last night we saw excellent boxing from a kickboxer, Alex Pereira, in the co-main event of UFC. And one of the strategies that he was imploring was, I'm going to hit you with a jab to the body, and then that right there, I'm going to make it look the same way as my starting for a check hook and my left hand up top. And it's such a simple strategy, right? But that's the point of boxing. It's making your opponent guess, where am I going to go? Am I going down? Am I going up? And so far right now, it looks like Addict 85 has been trying to implore that. But Jobe has just been really putting on the pressure here and is looking to make some good reads and get inside and land some good shots.
He's putting on the pressure, but Addict doesn't seem rattled. And to be honest, he's landing some really good counters on the approaches. Jobe is doing a good job getting in there and getting his shots off, but it seems like everyone he's landing has an answer from Addict 85. It makes a very interesting fight. It makes for a very difficult fight to score for the judges. So these are things that I like to see it. You know, it makes it much more interesting, because who's winning this round? I honestly am having a hard time telling you. It seems like Addict might be landing more, but again, Jobe might be landing the more meaningful shots. You mentioned some good boxing we saw last night. We also saw Terrence Crawford put on an absolute clinic against Errol Spence. I mean, oh my goodness. And it looks like McGregor's starting to warm up here himself. And Jobe just backs up, says, I'm going to let you come to me. Maybe is there a controller malfunction? What's going on here?
Oh, that is very nice. I like the sportsman-like conduct from Addict 85, understanding that no one is just going to stand there with their hands open. That's some good awareness. But that may have edged him out, though. Unfortunately, technical difficulties are not taken into consideration by the judges, and he landed a counter afterwards. So some extra free shots and the counter afterwards, that could really help out edge this round for Addict 85. Now, here's the thing, too. It looks like Jobe keeps on trying to land a hook while circling to the right and to the left. My guess is he's trying to slip that jab that's coming out from Addict 85.
Yes, but I mean, I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Addict in these first 2 rounds, because it seems like, you know, he's throwing that jab out there, getting that reaction, and then it seems like he's really ripping those body hooks. He's doing a great job mixing it up here through the first 2 rounds, as Jobe's going to be able to figure out, you know, his rhythm and his pattern. Once again, 3 flush body shots all land right there for Addict 85.
Yeah, you know, and some of those look like they landed on the elbow. That was a power straight that Addict 85 just threw there. He can definitely expend some stamina at this point. You know, we're going into the third and you're still at 90% stamina. Maybe it's time to burn a little bit more. I do agree with you. That jabbing style and mixing it up to the head and up top is great. I also like, if you guys were watching, that was amazing. That was beautiful. Body rear hooks. You did get countered there from 2 rear hooks and a jab off while disengaging from Addict 85. And as I said, he got countered there with a lead hook from Jobe. But if you notice, Addict 85 is not stepping in. He's not going to walk into punches from Jobe. And I think it's frustrating Jobe a little bit. And that's why he continues to miss these hooks that are getting thrown, because he's expecting that Addict is going to walk in and he's not there.
Jobe is really good at, fighting at his own pace. And it seems like right now Addict is dictating to him a bit, where the fight is taking place, the terms of engagement. And that might be throwing Jobe off his rhythm just a little bit. Addict, again, fighting a very smart fight right now through these 3 rounds. I've got him so far taking this 3rd round as well. I've got him up 3 on my scorecard. But again, my scorecard doesn't matter. Just, personal observation, what I'm seeing.
Yeah, I think you're right there. I'd be very surprised if we saw the CompuBot show something different. Because look at this. Look at the amount of shots that are getting missed from Jobe. But, and a lot of shots are landing from Addict 85, but it seems like a lot are jabs. And as I said before, some seem to be landing on the elbow, these hooks. And I think that might be just because you were seeing a late block. Well, let's see what CompuBot thinks. That is intriguing to me. I did not think that the 2nd round he edged it out a bit, but I actually thought that would be the round he would lose because he had the technical difficulties. So it just proves, man, this is why you want knockouts. You do not want things to go to a decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Jobe is starting to turn on the heat here in round 4. Starting to be a bit more aggressive, gets countered there, but landing some good shots here early, specifically to the body right now.
Yeah, man, he keeps pushing forward. And I like that. I mean, to be honest, at this point, he sees that he could potentially be around 2 rounds. That was good. Right hand and a left hand there. But this kind of pressure that he's putting on right now and trying to corner him and land these hooks it's going well. And now he just lands again. He's starting to get a good rhythm here, Jobe.
He is. He's starting to be more aggressive, and it's looking like Addict is having a bit of trouble with this pressure right now. He's having a hard time figuring it out, and Jobe is starting to land some really good, meaningful offense. Some good body jabs there from Addict to try and stem the flow. Go ahead.
He seems to be going like, it seems like he's starting to understand the footwork. You see, he started to follow him. He's starting to understand where his opponent's going to be. Though he just ate some shots there from Addict.
Both guys landing in the pocket. Yeah.
Jobe is starting to get like that. Another body hook, and this time it was a counter, so you get a little bit more there for that landed. Now we're starting to see lunges come from Addict 85 because he does not want to be in that corner. It is open. I think, though, Jobe needs to be worried about leaving these openings while he's being this super aggressive, and that's why maybe he's stopping just a bit, and he gets caught again with another 3 shots.
See, this is the part of the fight that I really like, Omni, right? Because both guys are starting to realize what the other one wants to do. They're both starting to make reads, and now you're seeing both guys put their counter reads into action. What just happened right there? The cameraman just walked through the ring. I don't know what he's doing there. But, as I'm saying, both guys are starting to make those reads on each other. They're starting to get those counter reads, and then, this is where we're really starting to see the fight within the fight, the fight between the ears, right? Where both guys are trying to see, now what's my next move? He's going to do X, Y, Z, so I'm going to try this. It's getting exciting for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, the chess match is one of my favorite things. I got an ELO now of about 800. Any of you chess.com players out there, come find me. And that predicting what your opponent's going to do, trying to think moves ahead and isolating the amount of moves that are possible from your opponent is really what wins you a good fight. And as long as you understand what you're capable of and what your opponent's capable of, that is where you start to edge out. But he's still, Addict 85 has not abandoned this jab at all. And I think that's just one of the best fundamental punches of boxing, obviously. And he understands that and is using that to his advantage. I love that, man.
It's one of his most effective punches, and with good reason. I mean, he's landing that jab nearly at will. Like I alluded to earlier, Crawford was doing the same thing to Spence, and it worked out beautifully. And we're seeing Addict take a page right out of that book. Some good body shots there as well. How's Jobe going to react from this? He was having more success, I think, when he was fighting closer to him, smothering that jab, and it looks like he's going back to that approach. But a good uppercut there lands for Addict 85 as he disengages.
Yeah, you caught that too, man. That was really good. And that right there came when Jobe was trying to go to the body. And now you're seeing that Addict 85 is starting to understand that, hey, when I step about 2 inches toward my opponent, where there's the gap, he's throwing hooks to the head. And now we're seeing him move back. Now we're seeing a little bit of that Matrix style. He wants to land some counters here, and he's doing it effectively by making sure that he is not walking into his opponent, again, as I called out before, and he's making sure that range, just like he did there. Because Jobe really likes to strike on the back foot. As you can see, he likes to make distance, and he's trying to jab as he's going backwards and catch strikes while moving. I think he might find more success if he starts to plant his feet now, because he's been doing that so much, you know, mix it up a bit.
And as we see here, after round 5, we've got Addict 85 sitting on about 81% stamina, 83% health. We can only speculate as to what Jobe's health and stamina are looking like, but, you know, we see Addict was really starting to open up in those middle rounds. We're going to see if maybe he's starting to burn a little bit too much stamina. How much is he going to have left in the tank going into these later rounds? Some good body shots there would look to make up that differential, though.
Yeah, I think another interesting thing I'm noticing, right, is that Addict 85 is very conscious of his foot movement, and he has been trying to mix it up by going left and right, and he's been doing it for about maybe count of 2, count of 3, and then when he finds that he has enough space inside of the ring, he does this, right, and he stays about 2 steps away from his opponent so that he can try to catch him coming in, and that's what's really opening up a lot more of these counter jabs as well. But again, now that was a good shot from Jobe, landing that counter hook to the body, but he gets countered yet again there, Frank. He gets countered yet again by Addict 85, man. I mean, I think he's got to change up this strategy here and push forward.
Yeah, he was having success earlier in the fight, you know, walking in and then angling off with those moving check hooks. But it seems like Addict has found the read on those, and once again, he is, you know, really terrorizing that body whenever he is getting these counter shots off. But some good angles, some good footwork by Jobe opens up a nice counter left of his own. And, I mean, things are getting interesting once again. This is wow. Doubles up on the counter left hooks. And Addict is really starting to find some success, but gets clipped by a huge left hand, and now Jobe is looking to put him down. And he does just that with the right hook here, Omni. We got our first knockdown of the day and our first fight of the day. And now we got Addict trying to get up, but man, what a way to start things off, huh?
Yeah, Jobe really brought out that inner lion, man. He came out and did you hear that? I just want to make sure this is working. That's amazing. He brought out that inner lion, man, and he completely has changed this fight and got a knockdown here late in the 6th round. That is amazing, and that could honestly be telling us something different than what we've been seeing, that maybe the jabs from McGregor, Addict 85, are not doing as much as they had thought. But as we see here, he's still down, because up until that moment in the 6th round, he was getting beat up and he was not landing much. And that right there, though, this is giving him a fighting chance here. This knockdown's definitely giving him a fighting chance.
Absolutely. It brings things much more even on the cards, because as you had alluded to, I believe that was a round that Jobe was losing. I mean, he was having some success, but it seemed like McGregor was just landing the better counters and, you know, having better timing, but he was able to land that massive left hand. He looked for it again right there. And that was able to change the entire complexion of this fight. Now he's once again on the back foot, maybe looking once again for a big counter to try and get himself another knockdown, another stun. But Addict doing a good job of not being rattled. He didn't let that knockdown change his fighting style too much. He's trying to be a bit more wary of the damage, but he's still getting in there and landing those counters and mixing things up here with Jobe.
Ooh, that was good. He got a check hook off, and he landed a jab as he exited the pocket. Addict 85 did. I think what we're seeing now from Addict 85 is he's being a lot more cautious. He's picking his shots a lot more effectively, because he really understands that he got put in danger because he started to get too comfortable out there, and he started to move his body a lot. We saw a lot more lunging, diagonal lunges, that lunge movement, the diagonal movement, I should say, that it just was introduced. And honestly, he had shown openings there, but look at that again. He's starting to pull back when he knows those hooks are coming. That seems to be the weapon of Jobe, and Jobe is not abandoning that, and I must commend him for that. But it got him a knockdown. But Addict 85 is adjusting a bit to that. And again, as you can see, he dodges and he does a lean to get out of the way of another hook. And as I say that, he walks right into a left hook there.
Good old commentator's curse on me.
Damn straight. Always is.
Always. And we are through, I think that was round 7, correct? It's starting to run together to me. That's what always happens in these high action fights,
round 8
right?
now coming up, sir.
All right, so we got round 8 in a very close fight between Addict 85 and Jobe. Jobe needs this knockout, though, if he wants to find his way into the tournament. Again, had some setbacks throughout the season, is now fighting for his place into that tournament that's coming up on the 13th of August right here on the ESFL channel, 2 weeks from today. Make sure you guys tune into that, where we will be crowning our first champion. But right now, Jobe is trying to, again, like I said, fight his way into that spot, maybe looking to wear down that block a little bit. Addict is trying to keep him at bay, throwing those jabs, keeping himself out of range of that danger.
Yeah, that left hand now, he's starting to find, and I'm talking about Jobe here, he's starting to find that left hook's timing. It's like right there.
Yeah, Addict able to get the hands up and avoid danger. Oh, a great lean back straight, able to get that pull counter off, landing some good jabs. His straight punches right now are finding a home. They're starting to land. He's got to start to try to find those with consistency, and maybe he'll be able to get his own knockdown and get himself, I don't want to say back into this fight because he was never out of it, but you get what I'm saying. Try to get himself back into an advantageous position.
Absolutely. He has a reach advantage. That right there. That
was nice. That was nice.
You can predict someone coming forward. Yeah. That opens up the closest side. That opening side, that opens up a nice shot right to the liver, right to the kidneys, right? And unfortunately, we're not seeing him utilize that rear right hand to the body when he does get that diagonal movement, but it's still punished. He's still punished Jobe for it. I think what he's doing right now, he is getting his block broken just a tad, and now he's starting to get a lot more power. But that's the
Ran
thing.
out of stamina.
He's knocked down again. Knocked down again. Thunderous shot, and that was because Jobe predicted that he was going to go for that diagonal movement, and that is exactly what got him knocked down in the 6th.
Yeah, he caught him. Sorry, I said wow because Addict was able to get back to his feet at the count of 9. Jobe was this close to seeing his ticket punched into the tournament, but he's got to fight 2 more rounds and try to replicate what he was just able to do. If you're Addict in this situation, are you just trying to see the decision so you can, hold on to your place? Do you maybe give up this fight so you can, keep Jobe out of the tournament? What would be going through your head if you're in this position here, Omni?
I mean, clearly you see that Jobe is a threat to you if he gets in, and he needs a knockout. So I don't know if he's thinking about it this way of, oh, okay, well, I'll just be defensive and I'll allow him to get a decision, which would almost say that you're out, right? Because people can lose and then he'd be in, but he's a good fighter. I would say Addict 85 is going to look for something that's a little more explosive. Because he is getting knocked down for that lateral movement, that side-to-side stepping when he's getting caught with that left hand here. I'm also wondering why Jobe is not being aggressive. I kind of want to switch off of this. Why is Jobe not being aggressive, knowing that a knockout would most certainly guarantee him a result there, and especially because he has 2 knockdown already.
Maybe he's trying to bait out some offense from Addict. Both of the knockdowns came whenever Addict had, been throwing, was at low stamina, and took some of that increased damage from him being at low stamina. So maybe that's kind of what Jobe's idea is: make him throw some, catch him at the end of a combination, then maybe you can make, your 1 or 2 shots count that much more. Yeah, that's just my guess. I can't tell you what's going on in his mind. Only he knows that, but.
Maybe he's trying to reserve stamina for the 10th round. I just think that this is a wasted opportunity. You know that you ended up getting 2 knockdowns here. He was up by 9 seconds now, and that is why. Look at that.
Yep.
That is exactly why. His stamina is very low.
Yep, we saw at the end of the round he was throwing there, and there was no steam whatsoever to be found on those shots. So maybe he might have burned a little bit too much out of the gas tank already. That's it's very interesting because we're going into the last round, and according to the scorecards, he's down a point. That just hurts, honestly.
It's ending a draw, and you got 2 knockdowns here. That does just hurt. But I mean, now we're seeing it. He's clearly changing it, and he's understanding he's got nothing left to lose. Opening up that inner fire, letting his heart roar.
Yeah, this is absolutely a smoke him if you got him situation. He ain't got him, but he still got to smoke him. So like, I empathize with him. My heart goes out to him. Jobe is fighting for his tournament life in these last 2 minutes of this 10th round. And Addict 85, if he can stay aggressive again, his tournament ticket is punched. If he can just stay defensive and keep himself upright for this last minute and a half, he's relatively on smooth sailing. You know, this is do or die for Jobe right now.
It truly is. And Addict 85, as long as this doesn't become a draw, he's gonna potentially get a number 2 or number 3 seed here, which would be very helpful inside of the tournament on August 13th. So Frank, I mean, take us home. We got a minute left here, and Jobe obviously could be down here.
Yeah, could be down, but I mean, he's fighting with everything he's got. Unfortunately, everything he's got just doesn't seem to be very much at this moment. 45 seconds left. He's trying to trying to corner McGregor and just unload on him, maybe just try to get a final salvo. Addict doing a good job of, you know, keeping on the back foot, getting some of those jabs out to keep that distance. He's just trying to survive for this last 20 seconds. He doesn't need to take any undue risks, but he still lands a nice left hand there. Jobe is just trying everything he can to get this knockout finish, to get that big shot that he needs. Unfortunately, it looks like the time is just not on his side, and the last few seconds of this 10th round do indeed tick away. We're going to go to the judges' scorecards for a decision, and we do indeed have our draw. So now both of these guys get 1 point for the draw, but how does that shake out with our bracket? Can we go ahead and take a look at that as soon as after we get out of these fight stats and everything? Of course, one judge actually gave the fight to Addict. Oh man, how? Ooh. You can only imagine what's going through both of these fighters' minds. I mean, oh yeah, we see right there that 30% stamina. That's why he wasn't throwing.
That health though, that health difference. It looks like Jobe was, though he took a little bit more there when it came down to the body, which is why his stamina was lower. He was definitely landing more effectively at the head, with 148 shots successfully landed to Addict 85. This is incredible. Man, I have no idea what happens here, man. Can we get that up? I think we're gonna get that up right
let's
now.
go ahead and take a look at our bracket. We've got, hang on one second. I've got to get my things in order. Sorry, I feel like I'm shuffling papers all around. So the rankings are up right now. If we take a look at the standings, we've got Addict at the top. I believe he's got 11 points now, right? So he's still in the number 1 spot as of right now. We've got Jobe. Sorry, Addict is tied for number 1 seed at this time with 10 points. He's tied with Loso and Pryoxis and EyeGameUWatch, all 3 of whom are going to be fighting later on. So
he's in.
He's in for sure, but it's just a matter of seeding now. It's it could get very muddy going forward. Sorry, I'm again having a hard time talking because all of this is quite intriguing. And yeah, let's just keep things rolling, man. We're going into our second fight. We've got TLG Legend taking on JMMA. What do you got for us on these guys, Omni?
Well, first of all, JMMA, shout out to you. That guy right there is a hustler, man. He has pushed very hard on YouTube. But TLG Legend, also content creator in his own right. I think that, you know, this fight is going to be for the fans, right? This is one for the fans. TLG Legend is here. He wants to get fight of the night and a KO bonus. I mean, unfortunately, because he started a little bit later, he's not going to be in the tournament, but he doesn't care about that. This man's here to just put on a good show and potentially play spoiler for JMMA, who, if he gets a KO, may get the last seed, but that's a may, right? A lot of other things need to happen. People need to lose. Certain people need to lose in order for that to happen. So potentially TLG Legend looking to be a spoiler here for JMMA. I mean, you take a look at this and you have awesome lineup with both of these two guys here. JMMA going with Tyson Fury, Tony Ferguson. He got his ass kicked last night. Tyson Fury, and then Floyd Patterson on the other side from TLG Legend. This is going to be very interesting, and I'm more intrigued to see how the reach advantage of Tyson Fury will be put into action in this bout.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting clash of styles. Are we going to have Tyson Fury's, reach and jab just dominate the entire time, or will Floyd Patterson be able to time it and figure things out with that peekaboo style? Will he be able to find his way onto the inside so he can land his damage? Or will it just be, the Ali fight once again? Who knows? I mean, that's why they fight, isn't it, Omni? And we got a very exciting one coming up, man.
That is exactly why they fight, man. Get the Gypsy King. Man, this is I'm excited, and look at the arena that they're in, and we got all these fans in the ESFL here now, and I just want to thank everybody who is watching the ESFL on right now. And if you haven't already, do us a favor, hit that follow button, and if you wish to support further, you can also subscribe, which will give you the subscription badge as well as other emotes. And no advertisements as well that could randomly pop up in the middle of a match. So something to consider. And back on the action we are. And coming out first is Floyd Patterson, who will be played by TLG Legend.
Yes, as you mentioned, TLG Legend just got a bit of a late start to the league, so he is not eligible for tournament contention. Just mathematically impossible for him to get in, but he's still looking to put on great shows, put on some excellent fights. He's still eligible for bonuses. He's still eligible to play spoiler for JMMA, and that's exactly what he's going to look to do here
look at
today.
That height and reach difference there. That's incredible.
What are you talking about? They're the same size.
Exactly. This does though look awesome. I looked at the network connection and I made an assumption. You know what they say about assumptions makes an ass out of you and me. So the thing is, we get underway here, and I like to see the jab, but that was a nasty flurry from TLG Legend, landing a jab and 2 hooks on a JMMA. I think JMMA underestimated that reach there of his opponent.
Yeah, potentially, and it looks like TLG Legend just here in the early going, he's fighting like he's here for a good time, not a long time. He's just trying to get his offense off, and I mean, he's saying they're not paying him to work overtime, so he's trying to get out of here early. But a good jab right there from Tyson Fury. He's going to need a lot more of that to try and stave off the forward momentum and motion of the gentleman in boxing. Floyd Patterson is just starting to get some of these combos off. Some of them are starting to look like wayward punches, though, so he might need to rein that in here in the early going, Omni.
Yeah, man. I think what would be helpful is if he recognizes the actual reach. I think that the way that Tyson Fury's arms are extended may be confusing him. Like he's also coming in too close, right? Like that's awesome, but then you're now throwing a power hook there, and in heavyweight especially, I would say power shots, throw them early if you would like to, but recognize that stamina is going to be hit if you miss those shots and he counters. So and as the commentator's curse exists, it will constantly happen. A power left hook lands flush, but he just got caught with a back-stepping jab there by JMMA.
Yeah, it looks like Patterson is trying to get one of those side steps and then, parlay that into a power shot. But right now, JMMA doing a decent job, using that loose movement, staying on the outside and trying to largely avoid that damage. He's fighting with that style of, okay, if you want to gas you out, if you want to gas yourself out, I will help you. I will let you. I'll just let you shadow box. He's just kind of, keeping his cardio up while he's letting TLG Legend throw himself out. He's got to be careful of that here in the early going, Omni.
Yeah, I mean, 91 stamina at the end of the first round is very telling. If that continues, you're losing an average of 9% plus the 4 that you'll get back. So really, you're expending quite a bit. 13% of your stamina expended in the first round is not good coming from JMMA side, but I can only imagine what Floyd Patterson, the gentleman of boxing's stamina would look like, considering that Tyson Fury was throwing quite a bit of jabs and not really a lot of power shots.
Yeah, he's got to be careful, man, because he's, when I say he, I'm talking TLG Legend using Floyd Patterson. He's throwing a lot of hooks that are hitting open air, but as I say that, Tyson Fury whips on a 1-2. Even then, though, ooh, nice shot to the body there. that I was just gonna say, him whiffing on those shots is gonna take a real toll on his stamina. But if he can get enough of those body shots landed, then it'll be, you know, I won't say not a problem, but it'll be less of an issue if your opponent's in there just as exhausted as you are, you know, after taking a mountain of body shots. But if he keeps landing those power straights and those power jabs, then it's a moot point.
Yeah, I would imagine that we would start to see a little bit more of that from JMMA, trying to go for those jabs straight. Like, see that back stepping jab. I know that we have some rules against the back stepping straight as well. We haven't really seen it so far. We're very early into this card. But I think a reason for that is someone like Tyson Fury. I mean, that guy, if he starts doing that back stepping straight, he's gonna knock you down. Like, it's very powerful for someone with that kind of a reach advantage. But JMMA, I think, is having a little bit of trouble as well understanding that reach, because he's walking too close and allowing for TLG Legend to get a little too close. I'd be curious if he starts making reads on this diagonal movement. And that was beautiful. Look at that. Look at that. That was
Almost
awesome. He used his range well.
Almost on cue with you saying, is he gonna, you know, time one of those hooks? He tried again with that left hand, just out of range there. Floyd Patterson trying to get that right back, but not quite able to do so. A good round here for JMMA. And again, TLG Legend, just I'm praying for his stamina tank, man. He's worrying me out there, Omni.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is intriguing. Look at this again. The reserve on the stamina there was good, but that health is really telling. He's not really taking a lot of damage from TLG Legend, and I can only imagine the damage that's being attributed over to TLG Legend at this point.
Yeah,
and I've seen
absolutely.
a lot of power shots coming from him too. So
yeah, 86% stamina is lower than I would have expected Tyson Fury to be at this point. But again, that makes you just wonder what's going on TLG Legend side, or is it just, you know, as you mentioned, the accumulation of the power shots? Legend is being very loose with that power. He's not afraid to let it go. And is that starting to pay off for him, or is this going to be something, you know, that ends up being a double-edged sword the longer this fight goes on? Because again, you're whiffing on those big power shots like he did there on that straight. That doesn't look good for your stamina tank going forward. And a massive power jab there from JMMA lands. That might be something for TLG Legend to think about on those approaches.
Yeah, I mean, that was amazing. And he's now starting to find that distance with the jab. I think a big part about boxing, and especially in this game, is that understanding that when your opponent starts moving forward, you don't always have to stop and try to engage. You can keep moving. And by doing that, you're going to cause frustration. By doing that, you're going to make your opponent miss. You're going to make your opponent impatient. And then eventually, right, maybe when you think that you should stop, that's when you keep going, and then you stop. Right? And now your opponent's walking into you. And that's what we're starting to see here a little bit coming from JMMA. He's starting to mix it up very well. And again, lands a jab there because he's utilizing that reach advantage well. What is something that TLG Legend could possibly do a little better, Frank, that could help him in this situation?
I would say something that he could do is make JMMA be the one to fight on the front foot. Maybe back up a little bit, make him come to you, and he might not be as accustomed to fighting on that front foot, but also, you know, that could give you an opportunity to just try and close that distance a little bit. That reach advantage is massive, and you know, we keep bringing it up because it's so apparent. If you're able to bring him forward, maybe he starts to float into that inoptimal range, because we've seen it a little bit. He's getting some good shots off there, but we've seen it a bit in this round where he's a little too close to land those jabs and those straights. They're not landing with full efficiency because he's not able to stretch it out all the way, get full extension. Maybe again, like I said, you try to make him come to you, you meet him in the middle, you get, you know, you smother that jab, you smother that straight, and then you can start to work the body perhaps. But again, 74% stamina for Tyson Fury. You got to, I mean, it's looking like a lot of these shots are starting to have an effect on him.
It certainly does. And on top of that, CopyBox is showing that Floyd Patterson is actually up here. Maybe that has to do with the power shots that are landing, because a lot of the shots that JMMA is throwing are jabs.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, I say a lot. Some judges do indeed look for power, and they score that higher than accuracy or, you know, landing, you know, because they look at who's landing the more effective punches. And at this moment, yeah, I mean, it's hard to argue that Floyd Patterson isn't making a very big impact with these power shots that he's landing. Good,
right you are. Right you are.
Good action in the pocket, but you see JMMA trying to disengage. I don't think he has too much interest in hanging out in the pocket for too long against TLG Legend right now.
No.
Yeah,
no, and as he shouldn't.
No, I mean, he needs to be trying to do his damage on the outside and just keep his opponent out of reach. You know, I feel like if he's able to fight effectively on the ends of his jabs and his straights, his opponent's going to have a very difficult time getting in on him. But as I'm saying that, he's doing a great job of cornering him, getting JMMA up against the ropes, giving him a piece of his mind right now. And yeah,
he's definitely frustrated, but I don't see why he would be. I guess just he doesn't like the walking back, but that right there, JMMA can't let that mindset, that taunting get into his head here. Stick with your plan long term. Oh, all right. I thought there was technical difficulties, but all it was him standing straight. That landed flush.
Yeah, he's got to be careful of those, man. A great job of slipping past that uppercut. That could have been devastating had it landed, but it looks like JMMA is starting to figure out a pattern here for TLG Legends offense.
Yeah, it does. And this is very early, right? You get to the 7th round and you find out who won the last 3 rounds. If TLG Legend is up in these next 3 rounds, then that's gonna be really tough to come back from unless you knock him unconscious. That's what JMMA is looking for anyway. So as of now, I think the game plan for TLG Legend is to continue to do what he's doing here, circling in like that and landing counter shots and staying as close to the chest as possible of Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury is trying to, use my jab as a rangefinder and have you walk into my offense and move my body around and catch you with unorthodox striking, uppercut to the body, straight shot to the head, mix it up. Not everything's just a jab forward or a left hook to the body. You gotta start throwing all different kinds of punches at your opponent. And one thing that we don't really see much of are uppercuts to the head. Those are devastating if you can catch your opponent as they're going to the body. And as I say that, he throws one, of course. And that's the kind of thing that we are looking for from JMMA. If he really wants to stay in this fight, going into the later rounds, throwing a mix of strikes and learning how to use your arm as a measuring stick so that you know where your opponent's going to be and keep your footwork going and strike before they get in. It's mixing up your shots and doing stuff like that.
It's also interesting, right, that JMMA picked Tyson Fury in the first place because, as we mentioned, a knockout really, really helps his chances getting into the tournament. Specifically after the situation where Jobe ended up drawing with Addict 85, a knockout would be his best chance here. And I'm not saying Tyson Fury can't knock you out and doesn't have that ability, but you would think he would, maybe want to lean into using a power puncher, right? But again, wow, TLG Legend doing a great job here on the inside. He's actually got Fury cut open over there on the left side. Patterson is doing a fantastic job staying on top of him, going to the body, and just really doing a good job cutting this tree down so far.
Yeah, look at that damage. Look at that stamina. That's significant.
It absolutely is. He's just staying glued to him and letting everything he's got go.
That's a cut.
Yes. He's got him opened up pretty good there on the left side. We're gonna see if he continues to hunt right hands and open that cut up a little bit more. We'll see if that makes Jay a bit more aggressive here in the later rounds. I hope there's not some technical difficulties going on. There it goes. Looks like he's back with us. But yeah, big right hand landing right there, and we'll call it an opportune moment for TLG Legend.
Yeah, man, you need to make sure your equipment is on point and you're paying attention, man. I apologize, but there ain't no free shots here. If you allow yourself to be open, that's an open shot to me. But that's the thing. That right there is exactly what JMMA needs to do. Cause misses from Patterson and throw those straight shots. That backwards jab is really landing home. But he is also throwing shots, and he doesn't really have a lot of stamina.
He what? You were saying? He what now? Just as you're saying it, a beautiful left hook, right straight, right down the pipe, catches Patterson flush, and you know, maybe JMMA knows more than we do, right? Because I was just saying, oh, you know, you should be going for knockouts. Why are you using fear? Maybe that's why. Again, he knows something we don't.
That was a crazy combination. That left hook was the initiation and followed up by that power straight. Actually, I don't even think it was a power straight. It was just a normal straight shot. And that right there got TLG Legend down. And this fight has changed a bit, I'd say. I think that what we saw from CompuBox is going to show that JMMA is now possibly up a little bit. He's starting to really land that lead hook and that straight shot as he just did again, while TLG Legend is coming in and out of range of TLG Legend shots. So this is good. This is what he's got to do. And that knockdown is a really big confidence booster. And 2 more jabs land as he disengages from the body.
Huge knockdown in the 6th round here for JMMA. And that's got to give him quite a bit of confidence going forward into the latter stages of this fight. We're going into round 7 now. And yeah, he might have been able to even up, maybe even pull ahead on the scorecards, depending on what CompuBox has been watching. And more importantly, he was able to defend that cut very well. Didn't take any more damage onto that. And there you see it, 57-56 for TLG Legend, according to the CompuBox scores. We'll see if JMMA looks to keep that pressure up, or if, you know, he's going to continue to stay on the outside as he's been doing and look for those counter shots that have been very effective thus far on me.
Yeah, I mean, you clearly know you got your opponent hurt, right? And we saw that the damage is accumulating to TLG Legend playing as Floyd Patterson. And again, another counter jab lands from JMMA playing as Tyson Fury. So yeah, you can understand that you have a good chance of being ahead. You don't want to I don't even want to say that. Look at that. That was an amazing combination up top, ending it off with a lead hook there coming from JMMA. He is starting to really come into his own and find a rhythm here.
Yeah, the loose movement, staying on the outside and just using that reach to his advantage is starting to pay dividends for JMMA. Patterson, TLG Legend, doing a good job, still marching forward, trying to land his offense to the body, trying to get whatever shots in that he can. But just, you know, right now he's having a difficult time getting in on Fury, but again, almost able to do so right there. JMMA doing a good job, though, like I said, with the straight punches, just keeping his opponent at the end of his reach as he eats 3 massive shots up top, and a right hand sends JMMA down for the first time in this fight.
Damn. And you know what? you were going on and I on a great roll there, and I noticed that right hand landed and the cut was opening up, and then he lands that jab and another right hand and follows it up with a beautiful combination to now knock down and make that previous round null and void for JMMA. And look at this, JMMA needs to get out of there. He does not want to get himself in a situation where he is in range of that right hand hook from TLG Legend. That's what knocked him down this time. That's what initiated it. It's also what knocked him down. There was a bit of help from Casper, if you didn't notice, but in short, I mean, it's not the fight to be this aggressive and stay in the pocket. The fight is, if you're JMMA, loose footwork and staying on the outside and not allowing yourself to get opened up with those. Don't allow yourself to be open to those hooks coming from TLG Legend.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that, you know, the desync did rear its ugly head, and that's, you know, what did lead to the knockdown. But then he was still landing some effective offense, you know, up until that point. So I don't want to just take all credit away. But yeah, it is an unfortunate bit of, you know, housekeeping that needs to be attended to. Again, we know that the devs are working on it. It's just unfortunate that that's, you know, where we are at this stage in time. It is what it is, though. These guys are putting on a great fight. In spite of all of that, TLG Legend doing a great job of timing those slips and getting on the inside. It looks like he's got a bit of a cut opening up himself, though, over his right eye.
He does, and he's starting to get caught with these with the left hand of JMMA. I mean, it's just landing constantly, whether it's a jab or it's a hook, like right about there. Tourny gonna throw that hook. And that's the thing. I mean, he's really starting to come into his own and understand that range and that reach. And that, even though he got knocked down last round, this is the kind of fighting style that he wants to maintain for the rest of the fight. This is what can win you this fight. Just needs to be careful, but that's good.
Oh!
He overthrew there, got greedy because he knew he was close, and now he's in trouble.
Yeah, big trouble, because Fury seemed like he might have been 1 or 2 punches away from putting him down and maybe evening up this fight once again. But man, this thing is so close right now, and I don't think either of these guys wants to see the judges' scorecards. Neither one wants to get robbed by the judges, as it were. So they're not trying to go there, man. I understand entirely. You know, we're both sitting here watching this great fight. The judges could be watching a basketball game that happened 6 years ago. We never know what's going on in their eyes. You know, just try to keep it out of their hands,
man. Jesus, especially in UFC. Oh my God, the calls that can get created at points. And as we go into the 9th round, that is definitely the mission on both of these fighters, these boxers here, JMMA and TLG Legend. They both are in a position where it really is anyone's fight. But as you saw before, JMMA really took advantage, and what ended up getting him a rock in the last round was openings like that.
Whoa! Openings like what? I was just what is that, a flash KO? No, just a knockdown. But as he is finding all of his success, I mean, just stepping back, boom, just nailing those straights in there. He gets caught. Wow, he was this close once again. But as he's in there, you know, landing, picking his shots, he gets caught with one. What just happened? Now come on now. Now come on now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Boo
this man. No, in all seriousness, whenever you get hit by a stand like that, you should have some decorum, right? Like,
yeah, I don't think he was able to get close enough, but now he's really starting to tee off here. And that right there is another knockdown. Oh man. Oh my goodness. I mean, this man is unleashing the grizzly bear on his opponent. And I think JMMA is in trouble.
I gotta be honest, that's quite unfortunate for JMMA, because things were going well, and you hate to. I'm not trying to like throw any shade or like, you know, any doubt on this knockout victory for TLG Legend, but like the connection got a little ugly at the worst possible time, and you hate to like. I'm not trying to put an asterisk on it. But I think it might be there. I think it might be.
There is, unfortunately, but that is the way this game is currently designed at the moment. And luckily for us, we do have devs that are very engaged and understand that this is a possibility that's happening. And now what we just witnessed there, everybody, when he rose back up, and what I noticed back when the game initially launched, is that when you get knocked down, sometimes once you stand up, you're still dazed. I like that as boxers sometimes when they do get up are still dazed. And so if that is the case, ultimately that is realistic. Fighters get knocked out when getting knocked down and getting back up, then getting knocked down again because they're still hurt and dazed.
I understand that entirely. And I'm not arguing that is a thing. What I didn't like is it seemed like he stood up, was there, and then just kind of like it looked like he took a punch, but the punch was never. It'd be one thing if he stood up and they still had like, you know, him still in the rock state. I've seen that. I understand that. That's all well and good. It looked like he took a punch that wasn't there. I might have seen something that I didn't see. Just from where I sit, it looked a little. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We want to thank you guys for joining us. And speaking of thank yous, Omni has some words to say.
Now, I appreciate that. Do you enjoy troubleshooting, solving problems? How about working with tools and using your hands? And do you want a career that AI and technology can never replace? If you answered yes to any of these questions, a career as a commercial food equipment technician may be the perfect fit for you. Scan the QR code shown during today's stream to learn more about the career opportunities in our industry. And another thing to mention here is that the food equipment industry is booming. The commercial food equipment industry is booming. You can start a career in this field without going to college and make good money right away. Scan the QR code. Again, the QR code on the screen during today's stream to learn about the careers in the food service equipment repair industry. And now, one last note I want to make. The company that is sponsoring us here, CFESA, is a nonprofit, and they are doing this because they understand that there is an opening and opportunity for you guys that is not being capitalized on. So again, if you are just coming out of high school and you're looking for something to do, maybe the commercial food equipment industry is for you. Back to the action. Appreciate that time.
Absolutely. And back to the action. We've got a banger of a fight coming up. We got UncleTalent taking on BoneDoin Work. What do you got for us, Omni?
I will tell you right now, man. First of all, UncleTalent, BoneDoin Work. A KO for either of these men should be enough for them to qualify into the tournament. So they're going to want to knock out. And for another note is that picking Joe Lewis and Joe Frazier, these guys, I expect a knockout from either one of them. And a decision for either one of them should be close to get them into the tournament as well. UncleTalent coming in as 2-3-1 with one knockout. BoneDoin Work coming in at 3-3. And both of these gentlemen, one's coming in after beating Jobe by a decision last week. That would be BoneDoin Work. And then you have UncleTalent, who's coming I can't speak. Coming off of a huge win versus TLG Legend, who just recently got a knockout. So fantastic here. These two fighters are going to put on a awesome boxing display. I think this is going to be a brawl, and that's what I really like. I like when it's reckless abandon and a bunch of power shots and nasty inside boxing. This should be really fun and exciting for everybody watching.
Absolutely. Both these guys are tied at 6 points currently in the standings. Both guys trying to get that last little spot. A knockout, of course, gets them higher into the standings, but you know, as it currently sits, they're just trying to claw their way into this tournament. We've got Joe Lewis versus Joe Frazier. Talent using Joe Lewis, Bone using Joe Frazier. Really going to work early on those body hooks right there, Omni.
Who do you pick out of these two? Like, who do you use online when you play?
I got Joe in this one. Yeah, usually I use Joe Lewis a lot because I like to mix things up whenever I'm playing. You know, I like to go to the body, I like to go to the head, I like to use some movement. And Joe Lewis just feels like the prototype, you know, boxer. He can do everything extremely well. So I really like having that well-rounded skill set whenever I use him. A huge left hook to the body there landed from Joe Frazier, though.
Yeah, they continue to land counter shots on each other. A lot of the counter shots coming from Joe Lewis are jabs and straights, whereas the counter shots coming from Joe Frazier are those body hooks. And looks like a leaning body uppercut. And those are 3 body uppercuts are landing, and that is one of those power hooks. That is a special animation that comes for Joe Frazier, and he landed it excellently, doing what Alex Pereira did last night, opening up the left hand for the head by going to the body. Excellent boxing, excellent chess.
Yeah, I love that leaping left hook from Joe Frazier, although I'm going to be honest, BoneDoin Work is in the loose movement. I know everybody's got it. I wish Joe Frazier didn't. I don't know why, man. I just feel, I'm not saying he couldn't move or anything. It's just when I think of loose movement, I don't think of Joe Frazier. I'm sorry, no disrespect.
No, he's a fast guy. He's pushing forward. He's going into the pocket, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that landed flush there from BoneDoin Work. Again, lands solidly on the body of UncleTalent. He is your uncle, and he's got talent.
Well, then how come he didn't send me a birthday present this year? All right, so that's a solid round down for both of these guys. I'm leaning Joe Frazier in that round just because he was able to land those big, meaningful counters. But I wouldn't be surprised to see a judge give it to Joe Lewis based on that jab. What are you thinking after one round, Omni?
I mean, it's too close, but I would think Joe Frazier is landing more of the powerful shots, especially with getting that lunging hook that landed correctly, and he continues to land to the body successfully. That was 3 consecutive shots that just landed there from BoneDoin Work as Joe Frazier. So I would have said the last round would have been Joe.
Uncle
Frazier.
Talent also also looking to work that body because Joe
Ooh.
Frazier's throwing a lot of power shots, as he should be, but that might open up the door for Joe Louis to work that body and just, help leak some of that gas on out because the more he's throwing those early, the less he'll be able to the longer the fight goes. So we're gonna see if Joe Louis is looking to play the long game, work the body, and just try and zap some of that energy out of Joe Frazier, who is completely, BoneDoin Work
Ooh.
is absolutely willing to let him go here early.
Yeah, and one thing though, Uncle Talent in that exchange looked like Joe Louis was starting to slow down. Maybe he got caught with the right timing shot to the body there, but he definitely looked a little labored inside of the pocket when he started to let his hands go. That's something to keep an eye out for. I doubt that by the second round he's already having issues with stamina, but he may have had an issue in that time.
I mean, he
And
might
now
be
look at
because look
that.
at Bone stamina. It's it's
It
trying to
is
make
there.
its way out of the party. It looks like it's looking for an early exit. Let's be honest.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you're right there. Like that was a straight shot to the body and landed flush. And oh goodness, he really is. Joe Louis is right now. Uncle Talent is starting to be the more effective fighter when going to the body. But that doesn't mean you leave your head open to hooks from Joe Frazier, though. Smoking Joe
Not at all.
Frazier will put your whole life in danger, man. You got to be careful.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, man, that stamina bar looks like it saw an exit the party. It's trying to figure out how to get out of here quickly. We see him at 83% stamina, which, you're not too worried if it's round 6. We're going into
Right.
round 3.
We are going into round 3, and that
that's an
damage doesn't
eye-opener.
look good either. It is. It is certainly an eye opener. He's going to need to do a few things in order to change the way that this fight is going, and one of those is retaliating to the wow. Okay.
We just teleported. That was a bit of a Dragon Ball Z moment. We got Jimmy Firecracker here in the booth as well.
Yes.
It's a deep cut for some of y'all.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. There's a bit of teleportation going on. But hey, that's neither here nor there. Both these guys are here to fight, regardless of what dimension we're in. Astral plane doesn't matter. They're throwing lefts, they're throwing rights, they're trying to hit the body. BoneDoin Work is having some success up top, but he's got to start blocking the body quickly, man, or just keep landing those left hooks. Something's gonna give first.
Yeah, I don't know, because what might be given first is that little tip jar that he's got up there with some gold coins in there. That might give first. That's hilarious. But anyway, I digress, and I get more involved in this one as I do. I mean, what I'm noticing here, other than the beautiful teleportation that's taking place, we're seeing a lot of tit for tat hooks, and this is exactly what I wanted from the beginning. I do not know why he is. Oh, he is in loose footwork, isn't he? Now he's out of it. Okay. That was very strange that he was in loose footwork with Joe Frazier. As you alluded to before, it's very odd to do something.
It's also odd that Joe Louis is not, right? Like, you would think if I'm in his shoes, I'm letting this man shadow box personally. Yeah, I don't. Yeah. If you want to get rid of your stamina bar, by all means, I'll sit here and let you. But he's willing to stand in there, willing to engage, and willing to just throw down with BoneDoin Work where he is at his most dangerous, which is in the pocket. But to be honest, he hasn't seen too many adverse effects, at least not to this point. Hasn't been rocked yet, hasn't really taken too many massive damaging shots, which is a bit of a surprise, I would think.
It is. I think that you're onto something there with the distance control and the jabbing and the straights. I definitely think that would be something that you would want to start using. And as you have been calling it before, that was disgusting. That right there, those two hooks that landed up top, and he landed that jab prior. Oh, goodness. And I'm talking about Uncle Talent here. He's really putting on a clinic. I think, as I said before, being a brawl, it is. I would be more inclined to want to see him control the center a little more and use the reach advantage that he has. I think he has a reach advantage. I'm not too sure.
He's doing a good job right now fighting, but he would be in a much better position if he started boxing, I think.
Yes. We're in a brawl. We want this to be a nice get out of being a bruiser. a
I mean,
situation.
hey, I'm not
Yeah.
telling him to get out of that. I'm
No,
just
I
saying,
like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, he might find a little bit more, even more success, but I mean, ultimately, he is finding success, right? So his strategy is doing very well. I think what I would like to see from Joe Frazier is stop backing up, go forward, and put your block against him. That's why he has that cross block like this, because you put yourself right next to him and you start firing at him as he tries to turn to get out of your way. He tries to go and you're about to corner him. Now he's trying to exit that corner. You're starting to throw hooks toward that exiting side. You do that and you start destroying the body and you start opening up shots to the head. He started doing it in the first round, but he has abandoned it since, and I don't know why he is not being an aggressive fighter. He is trying to essentially fight on the outside, and I think that's a mistake.
Well, right now, I think it's just because he doesn't have the stamina to fight on the inside anymore. You know, he might have whiffed on just one too many of those power shots early, and now he's definitely starting to pay for it. We're going into round 5 now, and we're gonna take a look at where his stamina is. But yeah, 65% going into round 5. I'd say that's less than ideal.
That is definitely less than ideal. I would have preferred to be around maybe 75 if I'm gonna go in the middle of the rounds. Yeah. And as we
Yeah.
get going into round 5, again, push forward, man. That's what I would do in this situation. I would get right next to him and cause a little bit of a chaos. Let him throw a little bit of punches, let them hit my guard, and let me start firing off counter shots depending on your movement. BoneDoin Work, I think I don't know if he's good with using an inside fighter like this, but that is a really good counter straight that he just landed, and a little bit of desyncing teleportation happening there, but where it looks like we're back to normal.
Yeah, at least for now. Right now, though, you know, as we've mentioned, UncleTalent doing a good job controlling the ring, controlling the center, and controlling the distance right now. He is well in control of this fight at this current moment, just because of the distance management, being able to teleport, being able to throw whenever his opponent is throwing, and just disrupt that rhythm. You know, that's what I'd say has got him up in this fight thus far. Just being able to, like I said, dictate the pace of this fight, make it a bit higher energy, higher frenetic pace to keep Joe Frazier from really getting that deep breath, getting his stamina back, and just keeping this fight on his terms right now, Omni.
I agree with that. Look at this. I mean, he really is getting bullied. He's getting pushed and round and bullied. And now he is on
knocked the mouthpiece into the crowd. It bounced 3 times. That's got to be good luck. It's like skipping a rock. But holy smokes, able to get that left hand. Frazier's able to get up at the count of 6. But yeah, this is looking like UncleTalent starting to try to put the bow on this nice performance and just trying to wrap this thing up and get on out of here, man. He's still got 4, or I guess 5 technically. How you want 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. He's got 5 rounds to try and I got to count on the fingers sometimes. I still have to see which one makes the L to
right.
turn.
We'll make some macaroni art. It's all good, man. We'll get through. We'll get through it. Yeah, like I was just saying, he just started bullying him there. I think that it's been a mistake from BoneDoin Work by allowing the control of the ring to be as under the control of UncleTalent as he's allowed. He really should have tried to control the center of the ring earlier on, and it might be too late. It might be too late to try and have those firefights now because, as you alluded to, stamina is really low now. And in addition to that, you've now just taken enough damage that you got knocked down. You were bullied, beat up, and you went to the guidance counselor afterwards. So now we're at the point where, it's emotional trauma. And now
then you get home and your dad said, go get your bike back. So you can't even there's no help. You just got to go back and get it.
No. And if you don't get it back, now the father's got to get involved. It's so much. It's just too much, man. And so if with that being the case, instead of trying to go and get your bike back from the bully, be accountable and make sure the bully doesn't take your bike in the first place. And so now we're at this point here, low stamina. He's inside of loose footwork for what reason? I don't know, but he's in it. and he is finding himself under duress as his body keeps getting hit, his stamina is getting a little lower, and we're closing out the 6th round here.
Yeah, 35 seconds left to go in the 6th round, and it's been all talent so far. I just feel like he was able to get out to that early lead. Frazier used just a bit too much of his stamina early on. You know, BoneDoin Work appears to be better fighting off of the back foot, and the Joe Frazier pick just might not have been in his best interest in this fight. But, you know, it's less about the mistakes that Bone is making and more about just the strides that Talent is making, the adjustments, the reads. Talent's fighting a very good fight. You know, I'm not trying to denigrate BoneDoin Work. We should be shining a light on the performance that UncleTalent is having right now. It seems to be just all going his way at this moment here. Not according to Copybox, but at least, you know, from what we're seeing as we enter this 7th round.
I agree with that for sure. Something I made acknowledgement to yesterday during the UFC event was that Bobby Green was asked, were you surprised by Tony Ferguson's ability to just like take damage and punishment? And he goes and he says, oh, he's like, I'm not surprised at all. He's amazing. And I laughed because I'm like, what fighter would say that they ever beat someone who is, you know, bad? You just beat a bad fighter. Like, you'd never say that. Yeah, he's amazing, but I'm better. Like that's awesome. So I mean, I'll tell you what, BoneDoin Work is certainly a talented fighter. He has one more win. He didn't get a draw than UncleTalent. I mean, so this is a big win for UncleTalent if he can capitalize here on what he's built up so far.
Absolutely, especially if he can get the knockout and just really move up in those standings. There's a lot of rubber banding and moonwalking happening right now. I'm sorry, it kind of took me by surprise. You know, it's unfortunate when you see connection issues, specifically in a fight like this that, you know, hasn't been the most hotly contested. You know, you hate to see any kind of questions come up in what has been largely a dominant performance from UncleTalent to this point.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that this is the way the servers are right now. Hopefully they do upgrade and they get more stable servers. I'm curious on who they're buying their
That
servers
said,
from.
BoneDoin Work still doing a good job of fighting, you know, not giving up, still seeing if he can land some of his own meaningful offense. Sorry, didn't mean to cut you
Right.
off there,
No,
Omni. I
you're
just had to
good,
make
man.
note. He's still
Yeah,
got the fighting spirit.
he definitely does. But that fighting spirit right there, that's not very wise. I get like you get frustrated, you know you have low stamina. Do not gas yourself at the end of a round like that. Like it bleeds in, especially if you have 2 more rounds, 3 more rounds, 8, 9, 10. I had to count on my fingers there.
See?
um rounds left. You know what I mean? So like just relax, stay calm. And not every single second do you need to strike. Same for UncleTalent too. He's starting to do something similar.
Yeah, it looks like now UncleTalent's just trying to figure out where the counter shot is and, you know, what punch he's going to have to land to put Joe Frazier down. Because right now, he's been landing almost at will. He just hasn't, you know, aside from that one knockdown earlier, I want to say it was round 5. But aside from that, he hasn't really found any massively damaging shots. So you got to wonder if he's maybe trying to slow down a little bit and find the counter that would be a bit more effective than just, you know, throwing a barrage out and hoping that one of those shots would be the one.
Yeah. Especially when your stamina is this low, a big method would be to get your opponent's stamina low as well. But the head health just flashed for Joe Frazier there. We were able to witness that. That's a rough one. I mean, he just popped another shot. He just fired it over there and he cracked him. And that being UncleTalent to Joe Frazier.
Yeah, just look
Work.
at this point, the accumulation of damage is starting to become a bit too much. As I say that one massive right hand lands through big right straight. A huge left hook from Joe Frazier. He's still fighting back though, man. BoneDoin Work says, no, I'm not going gently into that goodnight. And we love to see it, honestly. Very entertaining. Still fighting back whenever he's got his back against the wall, willing to leave it all out there in the ring. And that's quite commendable, I'd say.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's that straight shot that's UncleTalent's trying to land there.
Yeah, it seems to be his most effective punch. He's had quite a bit of success with that here in this fight. Almost got it right there on the off the pull. He's again just trying to land that big straight right hand to see if he can get this fight finished. We've got, BoneDoin Work right against that 30% stamina threshold. He's sitting on 34 right now. With 2 rounds to go, this is not where he wants to be. So he's just trying to do what he can to make this a brawl and make it ugly here at the end here, Omni.
As he should, because at this point, man, you're down, and you at the like your stamina's so low. Stamina's so low. I mean, it makes it really tough. That right there, though, now he's starting to get jiggy with his quick movement, his reflex movement, but that straight shot lands flush, and now here comes UncleTalent being that bully we're talking about. Hey, man, I want your bike, and he's putting it on. He's chasing him down here, and that straight shot once again causes a rock. And it is not very wise for BoneDoin Work to expend that much stamina, knowing that if he gets hit with another straight shot, it could be lights out.
I like what UncleTalent was doing there. He was walking up on Bone, making him throw, but he was just doing the head movement, trying to keep himself, safe, keep himself protected. And he was just waiting on Frazier to throw himself out to make it that much easier for him to land that shot that does get his second knockdown of the fight. Of course, he's going to look to try and keep that pressure on and get a knockout victory so he can get himself further up those standings and, really solidify his position in this tournament.
Oh, yeah, man. I think at this point, we're in round 9. It could potentially just be a matter of time. And what is that exact shot that he lands flush? A good counter should do it at this point.
Yeah, right now he might be trying to land that counter. The block of BoneDoin Work is in terrible shape. His stamina is in terrible shape. There's 10 seconds left in the round. We're gonna see if he's able to make it through this one, and he's got one more to try and get at least that moral victory of having made it to the finish line.
That's a good point.
But again, 38% health, 34% stamina. If UncleTalent can keep this up, he's going to punch his ticket with authority into the ESFL Undisputed Grand Finale tournament. That tournament, of course, coming up 2 weeks from today, not next Sunday, but the one afterwards, right here on the ESFL channel. So make sure that you follow and subscribe. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube, so you can keep yourself tapped in with all of the updates and happenings here with the ESFL Undisputed community.
Well said. Well said.
And these guys really just swinging it, slugging it out here in the last 2 minutes of this fight. BoneDoin Work really just trying to, like I said, he's got nothing to lose here but respect, and he's making sure that he doesn't lose that. Still swinging for the fences here, even though he's got nothing left. I mean, the heart on display is admirable for certain. And of course, on the other side of things, UncleTalent just trying to figure out what is the one shot that I'm going to have to land to put this guy away for good so that I can, like I said, get my spot in the ESFL Undisputed Grand Finale tournament.
Oh, yeah, man. Oh, yeah. KO should be enough. It should be enough here. But now you got a minute left, and that has got to be dawning on UncleTalent right now. But he can't let that. That was a labored shot there from UncleTalent. His stamina might be low as well. 40 seconds left on the clock. Can't let that get in your head. But you also can't get too greedy because then you get knocked down. And man, now
He's
what do
close.
we do?
He's so close. The head health meter is up there.
It is.
UncleTalent has 15 seconds to try and get this knockout. Is he going to be able to get it? It doesn't quite look like it right now. BoneDoin Work doing a good job of keeping his head protected here at the end. But there's a bit of intrigue. He almost got it, but not quite able to get that knockdown. Of course, should still have the decision victory, and he does. That's still going to, help his case for making the tournament, but it's not the decisive exclamation mark that he would have wanted going into that tournament, Omni.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. He had 2 knockdowns. One more should have been all she wrote. And at this point now, UncleTalent getting that decision certainly makes sure that BoneDoin Work is likely is all she wrote for BoneDoin Work being in the tournament. But UncleTalent He's got to hope that other people get decision wins or certain people lose so that he can solidify himself in that tournament. Unfortunately, he didn't get the knockout, but great win there for UncleTalent. Awesome job there. Awesome job.
Fantastic victory from UncleTalent. But again, BoneDoin Work showing incredible heart, never once giving up, never once letting himself out of that fight. So, you got to admire that. UncleTalent's a 7 seed right now. So he is, if the tournament started and the season ended right now, UncleTalent would be in. But it's just a matter of will that still be the case at the end of this event? There's still 2 or 3 more fights left to determine what this tournament's going to look like. Sorry, I'm getting a bit mixed up. I'm trying to do too much at once. But moving on to the next fight, we've got KYoungButta taking on Royszn. What do you have in your notes for this fight coming up, Omni?
So for this one coming up, first of all, shout out to KYoungButta. Like that guy. Very nice. And then you got Royszn, which I'm going to say I really enjoy that people are using SZN. And now I know how to spell that one artist whose name is spelled this way. It could be Season. I never knew. She just has that name, and now I know. But anyway, I digress. A KO win will be enough for KYoungButta to get him into the tournament. And for the same goes for Royszn. If Royszn wins at all, he gets in at all. But if he loses, he's out. And the same for KYoungButta. So another do or die situation is upon us. And what we are going to witness now is Terrence Crawford, whom, as you alluded to, recently fought against Saul Canelo Alvarez. I love screaming that man's name because Saul. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you were okay. It caught me by surprise. I wasn't ready. I won't lie. Yeah, man. Terrence Crawford, as I had mentioned earlier, put on an absolute masterclass last night against Errol Spence, who is, again, a great fighter, fantastic fighter in his own right. Crawford made him look like he didn't belong in the same ring, which is very impressive. And I kind of figured that would lend itself to a couple more Crawford picks than normal today. We're gonna see what KYoungButta's got in store using Terrence Crawford against Saul Canelo Alvarez being used by Royszn. Yeah, man, this is going to be a good fight. I am ready to see what these guys have for us. Man, it's always, you never know what's going to happen, right? Because here specifically, I'm talking before the fights. Sometimes you want to get into that big, beautiful intro spiel, and both guys are slamming the A button, trying to get in as fast as humanly possible. And then whenever you think, all right, I'm not going to say too much and just let them do their thing, they just kind of let the intros breathe out. So we got that awkward little what's going to happen. But yeah, no, both these guys seem to be raring to go. No introductions, and we are underway. Bell rings. Let's get to it here. We've got KYoungButta using Terrence Crawford, Royszn using Canelo. What do these guys have? KYoungButta trying to pop that jab out early.
Yeah, and I expected that. It's also good that he's picking his Terrence Crawford as well. KYoungButta is a very prolific striker. If you look at him in UFC, he also was inside of the UFC ESFL tournament. I mean, this guy's good. This guy's good, and he definitely knows how to use both sides and both stances, which is very helpful in this situation. And then you got Royszn, he's picking a guy that's going to destroy your body if he gets too close.
Yeah, so obviously, from on paper, the matchup here is, will Royszn be able to get inside and terrorize the body before KYoungButta picks him apart with those jabs? But the fight that we're getting in practice seems a bit different. Both guys on the edge of the pocket willing to trade those longer shots. But right now, KYoungButta getting the better of those exchanges. 2 big counter left hooks have landed already, about a minute and a half down in the first round. There we see the first body shot of the fight from Royszn. It's caught with the left hook on the way out there by KYoungButta, but again, trying to stay either all the way out or all the way in. A big right hand, but it's answered by the left from Crawford. Both these guys are finding some success in the pocket, but it seems like right now KYoungButta is just a bit more. His timing is a bit better at this current moment. We're gonna see what reads both these guys make as this fight progresses.
Yeah, that jab is landing successfully also from Royszn, and he's starting to find a bit of a rhythm as well against Crawford. Though he's not landing a lot of counter shots, he is landing shots and trading with KYoungButta, and that right there was two excellent shots. A rear body uppercut and a lead hook.
Absolutely. Two really big shots. We just need to take a look at some things real quick here. Don't mind us. All right. Things are in working order as we start round 2. And again, double up on the jab from KYoungButta. Tries to land that right hand. Gets the left hook, it looks like. Being more aggressive here in the pocket. Landing quite a few shots while Royszn looking to land the more meaningful shots. A switch stance from Crawford. Ends up eating a left hand from Canelo, and he switches back to orthodox here.
Yeah, at this point, second round, I like the switching of stance happening here, right? Because he's trying to find whatever's going to work. That was a good counter left hand. And now, as you can see, KYoungButta is starting to use lateral movement and throw hooks to the body. And that is telling. That was good, too, there from Royszn. Sorry, I said his name wrong. Royszn, because he landed a lead hook and that straight, and that was a good body uppercut. Another body uppercut lands there.
Yeah, now he's looking like he's starting to try and find some a home for some of these body shots. That could be something that could be massive for Canelo going forward. Oh, but a nice right straight lands up top. A good slip into the left hook to the body, and now Royszn is starting to find a bit of a flow here in round 2.
Oh, yeah, and those uppercuts are starting to land very well.
KYoungButta is, not to be outdone, lands a big right counter up top. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there on me.
You're good. You're good. That's beautiful. And I couldn't have said it better myself. That was very flashy. And then now a counter left hand, left hook that is, lands for KYoungButta against Royszn, and another counter shot. Actually, they were both striking. I don't know who landed that one. And that's really good. These guys are both trading back and forth, and another straight shot lands at the end of that exchange from Royszn. And
big right hand right there. Both these guys are starting to find success in the pocket, but now that round, it seemed like it was Royszn getting the upper hand in those exchanges. The judges have a lot to think about already, and we're only through 2 rounds here, Omni. And of course, both fighters have quite a bit to think about as well.
Yeah, and I would imagine both stamina are fairly high, but considering you can't see Royszn's, it's up in the air.
Yeah, absolutely. And Canelo has, I won't say a bad gas tank by any means, but I don't think it's the same as Crawford's. Again, not a denigration, just Crawford has a fantastic gas tank, but again, the body work of Canelo can even that up quickly if he decides to commit to that. But right now, doing a good job of, landing things up top, getting some good shots there. A big left hook lands. He's also been eating quite a few shots from Crawford on his way in.
Yeah, this is definitely a very close fight. Both of these guys letting their hands fly when they're in the pocket.
Yeah, very exciting fight, very high action. Love to see it, but there's also quite a bit of tactical chess on display here. A nice step back into that uppercut to the head by Crawford. Ooh. And he's starting to mix his combos up, and he's really finding a home for those shots to the head.
That he is. Look at that. Right hand lands. And as you were alluding to, that is 4 shots land successfully for KYoungButta in a row, and then 2 jabs land as he's backing out against Royszn. I think KYoungButta is starting to get a bit of a rhythm going.
He is, but it's also looking like Royszn is starting to make a few of those reads himself. We're going to see what he's able to, put out there to give KYoungButta something else to think about, because right now, as you mentioned, he's starting to get into that flow. He's starting to figure out when the shots are coming, where they're coming from, and how to counter them. And that's going to spell bad news for Royszn if it continues at this rate. But as, on cue, he lands a nice left hook and a right hand behind it up top. We're going to see if he's able to capitalize on that, and we're going to see what these guys have for us coming into round 4. We've got 5 seconds left here in the third.
And that will be it for the third round. That's interesting. So from what I'm watching now, I'm so curious to see what CompuBox thinks. Yeah, very close. In that last round, edged out there by KYoungButta. That was his most successful round. And
I actually had it 2-1 KYoungButta, and I gave him 1 and 3. I feel like they've traded rounds thus far.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a big right hook up top.
I mean, at this point, KYoungButta has definitely found a rhythm, and he is starting to fire on all cylinders, and is landing counter shot after counter shot to the point. Oh!
Wow! But a big flurry by Royszn is able to even things up. He's able. Oh wow! Big shot to the body. Drops Terrence Crawford. Gets the first knockdown of the round or of the fight here in the 4th round. I can't talk anymore. These guys have got my blood pressure up, and now he's right back up at the count of 5. And this fight continues on. We're here in the 4th round. Okay. That's the one after 3. I got to remember my numbers. And see, that's what I'm talking about. I'm fine if he stands up and is still rocked. It didn't look like he got a second rock state from nothing there. That's what I was talking about earlier. That doesn't matter, though. What does matter right now is Royszn trying to keep up the pressure and knock down KYoungButta for a second time here in this 4th round. Is he going to be able to do it? KYoungButta's finding some distance here off of these step back shots. Just trying to keep himself safe, keep himself in this round for the next 50 seconds.
I like what I'm starting to see from Royszn as well against KYoungButta. He's throwing these hooks out of range. I'm catching him as he's circling. That was a bit of an inaccuracy that he threw there, throwing to the side that he was not on. However, that opportunity opened up because KYoungButta was getting a good rhythm and flow in. And then the same thing happened for Royszn, and he just started to fire at the end of that flurry and that blitz that happened from KYoungButta. I mean, there's no question who won that last round, but now
no, not at all.
Can he keep that momentum going? And how does KYoungButta adjust, knowing that now, okay, if I start leaving my hands down trying to hit him, he's going to trade with me, and clearly I'm not going to win that exchange.
Yeah, Canelo definitely seems to have the power advantage in this matchup right now anyway. A huge flurry, like you said, was what ended up leading that. Now Crawford, low on stamina, he's got to be very careful about trying to trade in the pocket. A very dangerous, very game Royszn is looking to take his head off. But a huge right straight from Crawford now has him in the driver's seat. Now has him looking to get a knockdown and even things up here in the 5th round. Not quite able to do it there, but he's still got plenty of time to work. And Canelo probably hasn't recovered as much as he would like to at this point.
Yeah, but that was a quick flash too. He didn't get hit much. He did very well to be defensive and get away, right? And some people, they just don't. But he did a good job there.
Yeah, very cognizant of the danger, gets himself into a safe position across the ring, and that way he can, take a deep breath, regroup, and regather, and figure out what his next order of business is to get his own offense back going strong against KYoungButta, who right now is starting to get that rhythm back, starting to get that flow back, and is doing a good job controlling the center of the ring and where this fight is taking place. But a good flurry there from Royszn. Just whenever one guy starts to get ahead, the other one figures something out, lands a good shot or 4, and then we're talking about a different fight all over again.
Yeah, absolutely. This is extremely close. I do like that I'm seeing those uppercuts come from the Royszn to the head as well. It's very telling when somebody is comfortable enough to throw an uppercut in this game, because a lot of people don't. And I think uppercuts to the body, obviously, that was at one point a big meta, but uppercuts to the head are still very valuable, and I don't see it much, but I am seeing it come from Royszn, and Royszn is using that perk, which is boosted benefit when you're playing as Canelo Alvarez. Saul Canelo Alvarez. I just mumbled all of that. That was garbage. But anyway, he did good. He did good, and he's throwing those uppercuts, but he just got caught there with a lovely right hand to the body and a left hand.
That flurry. Just out of range, though. You got to wonder if KYoungButta's life flashed before his eyes for a second there. Saw about 4 dangerous punches come right before him, but doing a good job getting just out of range of those and trying to fire back. Just didn't quite have the stamina wasn't timed out as well as KYoungButta would have liked right there, but still being aggressive, still moving forward and trying to get his own offense, trying to keep his spot in the driver's seat in this fight. But right now, Royszn fighting back, trying to make sure that he's the one that does the dominating, does the dictating here as we start round 6. Both these guys landing great offense whenever they get in the pocket, whenever they decide to throw. Nice exchange there once again. Crawford's finding a lot of success with that left hook at the end of his combinations, or at the beginning, as we just saw there.
Yeah, man. I mean, he landed that left hook and then and he tried to throw a rear uppercut, but I don't like that he's throwing a lot of those diagonal movements. That could be problematic. We'll keep an eye on that one. That was good though. I mean, he capitalized there. Lead hook and straight after the diagonal movement. So good job there from Royszn.
Yeah, he is throwing a lot of that diagonal movement. Maybe he's, expecting the jab or the straight to come from Crawford, and it's just not quite popping out at the time whenever he's, anticipating it. But some good jobs there. Good job there by Crawford throwing the hooks to try and avoid that. But again, great straight shots from Royszn right down the middle. Both of these guys are having success, and this is another one of those muddy rounds. I'm having a hard time deciding who's ahead right now. What do you think, Omni?
Wow.
Wow.
Royszn just popped off like 6 shots consecutively that landed onto KYoungButta consecutively, and that does make a lot of sense to me. Canelo, as of now, has been landing more of the significant shots in the exchanges. He's mixing up going to the body and the head, but he's staying so defensive, and he's kind of being the matador here, letting the bull run close to that red blanket, but getting out of the way as soon as the bull is coming closer. He's landing a lot more counter shots like that.
Now, I think I have him ahead, but I don't know if it's as lopsided as the CompuBox judges had it. But at the same time, that doesn't necessarily mean lopsided. It just means that he's been the one that's edged out each of these rounds. I feel like every one of these rounds has been close. But overall, I would give the fight to Royszn thus far. That's not to say KYoungButta's out of it by any stretch of the imagination. He's still landing big shots as I'm calling them out almost. Gets a big left hook right there, sends Canelo into the rock state. Now he's trying to chase him down and put him down, but not quite able to do so in that exchange. Once again, still a minute and a half, plenty of time to work for him. Do you think he'll be able to get the knockdown in this round, maybe try and even things up a little bit, get the fight going more in his favor here, Omni?
I mean, he's certainly going to try. He's certainly going to try to get this man on his back. And that is what he should do. I think the thing is, KYoungButta is what he's finding a rhythm in is that rear hook. Now, this is the second time we're seeing that Royszn has been rocked, but KYoungButta not able to get the finishing touch on there to get the actual knockdown. But that it's defensive, and that's what Royszn has been doing for a good part of this matchup. Now, KYoungButta, as you called out before, definitely still in this fight. He has a good opportunity. He's landing rocks, but I think that a lot of it is because he's chasing so much and trying to be so pressurous. I think if he took a step back and just allowed himself, instead of chasing him around the perimeter of the ring and just owned and the center and caused conflict in the center, he'd be more successful here.
Right. And as we saw there, the health and stamina of Crawford starting to dwindle. And you got to wonder if Royszn is going to be looking to take advantage of that, or if he's in a position himself where he is, also looking at very low numbers in between rounds and might be wanting to be a bit more cautious. Seems like he's stepping back a bit more, but some massive left hooks from Crawford make their way through, able to get those counters. And again, he's starting to fire off. Those left hooks to the head are really starting to land with consistency now, and Royszn has got to watch out for those because, from Terrence Crawford, it's not going to take too many of those to change the outlook of this fight. You're getting some good body shots in there from Canelo, though.
Yeah, and it looks like Royszn's stamina is getting a little bit lower, too, or at least in that situation, they were a little lower. Now what we're seeing here is KYoungButta is becoming hyper-aggressive, and he is landing that hook and the opening of the block, and it is like there. He's landing his shots very well. Ooh.
And both guys landing good counter left hooks.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that lead hand can really be thunderous. That's what Alex Guerrero is known for. That it's very simple. That lead hook and the jab are the fastest punches you can possibly throw. So, I mean, use them again and again.
And both these guys they are trading left hooks. I mean, giving them back and forth like it's a gift exchange. And both guys landing counters. This fight is entirely too close to call, and I'd say we got a pretty nice contender for fight of the night thus far, as we got 30 seconds left in round 8, and both these guys are keeping the pressure up, keeping the heat up, and neither one wants to see this judge's scorecards.
Oh, man. This is nuts.
10 seconds left, and these guys are swinging. They do not want to take any of the stamina home. They're trying to leave it all in the ring. Both are trying to get that knockout, punch their ticket to the tournament. These guys are fighting.
Yeah, man, that's an understatement. These guys are at war here, and it truly is very close. Though the box is showing that Royszn is up, as you alluded to as well. I think it's by an edging margin. So if KYoungButta, other judges are here, KYoungButta can start putting in that work and maybe get a knockdown or two.
Whoa, that's not going to help.
That won't help him at all. And now he is in danger. He's getting danger, and he is now going to need to retreat. And he throws a power straight right after being rocked. That may not have been the smartest move, but hey, man, show that you're still in this fight. And oh man, another lead hook lands successfully from Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, he's taking a lot of those counter shots, and you can see they're starting to take their toll for certain on him. He's trying to figure out how to get out of the way and land his own counter shots to get that extra bit of damage. But right now, Roysz's timing is just it's too locked in. He's figuring out, when and where to throw, and doing a great job of keeping himself safe. You see the head health popping up. You see the block health is just not there right now. KYoungButta's doing everything he can, but Royszn is just on top of him and not giving him any room to breathe, and he's hitting him in the ribs, so he definitely can't breathe now. Goes down for the second time in this fight, Omni. Will he be able to get back up?
That is the question now, isn't it? And it does look like he is going to get up around that. Ooh, that was very close. Wow.
Very.
Very close. But now the question is, I'm up. What do I do now? Well, what you do is you start to fight smart, and you fight defensively. Don't chase on the center.
I bet he's still just going to come out and fight the exact same way, because that's the only way he knows how to fight. Both these guys are in there to stand and bang, and that's what they're here to do. They're both doing so very well.
Ooh. Good.
Oh my goodness. Great round.
That definitely, I think, edges for sure Royszn up. And look at that. This is, according to CompuBox, this is just nothing but a classic. And he is putting it down, saying that I'm the veteran here. And that was nasty coming from KYoungButta. He is not out of this yet.
He might be. He might be actually yet. We're going to see if he's able to answer the call, but no, he's not even. He understands. Wow. Hey, we've all been. Oh, now come on. We all saw what happened. Why you got to quit, bro? Like, now we got to clown you, bro. Like, come on. Everything was going fine. Why did you have to rage quit in front of God and everybody? We all knew you were going to lose. It's fine. There was honor in it because you were going to get fight of the night. Now I don't know if we can give it to you because you quit in the middle. Can we give like a half fight of the night offer?
Of course we can. I mean, not just because one person goes through and they get rage quit. And you know what? I understand. That's frustrating, man. That can be very frustrating. He knows he's out of the tournament at this point. But still, I'm not going to take away anything from Royszn. Royszn came out here and he showed up. He picked Canelo Alvarez and did a wonderful, wonderful job. Great fight to him, and still a good fight to KYoungButta as well. Unfortunately, though, emotions get high, tensions get high, and this is just how it goes, man. This is just how it goes.
Nah, man, bump that. You signed up for a competitive thing. It's 1v1. There's one winner. There's one loser. Be honorable. Stay there. Take your loss. It happens. Everybody's lost before, man. Except Loso. We'll get to that. But yeah, everybody, I mean, it is what it is. Don't rage quit. Then I got to go off and go on a soapbox. That's all I'm getting at. Anyway, let's shift the mood a little bit here, Omni.
Absolutely. So, big news for our ESFL viewers here. Starting on September 1st, 2023, the CFESA is launching yet another scholarship program worth $2,500 toward education and $1,500 toward Klein tools. That's $4,000 up for grabs. And you, as an ESFL fan, will get a head start against the crowds. Some benefits of becoming a commercial food equipment technician are as follows. You can start a career without going to college. That saves some money. You can make really good money right out of training. The industry is growing, has a very high demand. And it's a change of scenery with unique and interesting problems to be solved daily. So if you're looking for a challenge and you are looking to find something that potentially could be a career for yourself, scan the QR code during today's stream and head over to the scholarships page. Make sure to fill out the interest form to be reminded on September 1st when the applications are open. And again, this is a nonprofit organization doing this out of the goodness of their heart to allow others to get into this growing industry. And they're offering scholarships, man. Take advantage of it, especially if you're about to get out of high school and you're not so sure what to do. If you get the scholarship, you could do this, and now you have experience under your belt, man. Remember, scan that QR code today. Thank you for our sponsor.
Absolutely. Thank you for our sponsor, and thank you for our competitors, because right now we are moving into our co-main event of the evening, and it should be, by all rights, a banger. We've got undefeated Loso. He has got 10 points. He is currently at the top. If he gets a win right now, that guarantees him the #1 seed. Full stop. He's 5-0 right now. He's going to be taking on FightNightsFinest, who is also a guaranteed qualifier. And if he gets a win, he can be one of the top 3 seeds. That's a fantastic spot to be in. I don't know if we had mentioned it, but our higher seeded entrance participants in the tournament, they get their first choice of whether they want to choose their fighter first or choose the weight class. That can be a major advantage going into a tournament like the ESFL Undisputed Grand Finale tournament that we have 2 weeks from today right here on our channels. And yeah, both these guys trying to fight so they can, be in that top spot so they can get their choice of fighter or weight class and just get whatever competitive advantage that they can get here, Omni.
And that's exactly what you're looking to do and what you need. Now, first of all, and call me biased, but I really like Fight Night's Finest. When I watched that guy back on week 4 have a complete dominating performance, I knew that guy right there is going to be looking to change his name to Undisputed's Finest. And he's going against the undefeated Loso. He's got everything to gain and practically nothing to lose. He is guaranteed a qualifier, but if he wins, he not only is going to knock Loso out of potentially being the #1 seed, which if Loso wins, that's guaranteed to him, but in addition to that, he's going to end up being a top 3 seed, and that's which, as we just discussed, that's important, that's helpful, that allows you to make a decision, a choice that could alter whether you lose or not come August 13th. So, I mean, this is a very high stakes co-main event match. You couldn't ask for anything better. And if you're seeing this right now, I mean, wow, the hype is real, and 100% it is worthy of seeing people like Joe Calzaghe versus Sugar Ray Robinson. Beautiful fight underway.
What a fight that would be if it was somehow able, through the modern marvels of science and time travel and technology and all that. If we could find a way to make this fight happen, oh my goodness, it would be sold out years in advance. Joe Calzaghe taking on Sugar Ray Robinson, one of the pound for pound best of all time. What can you say about this fight that hasn't been said already? I mean, both these guys are masters of the sweet science. Both of them tough as a $2 steak, and both of them are ready to step into the ring and give us a show here.
That is very true. Unfortunately, it looks like we are having a little bit of buffering happening here. I'm sure that'll be taken care of. Yeah, but I think that hopefully they can get that fixed. Regardless of that, Yeah, it looks like it's going good right now. We'll see if we're plagued throughout this fight with that. I'm just going to call it as I see it. However, I mean, you look at Sugar Ray Robinson, he can literally do anything and everywhere. And now, all
Okay,
right.
so
And
they're gonna
so,
take a second to get something figured out. So
why don't we
yeah,
take a brief moment to just thank you guys for watching? I appreciate you guys. Awesome.
yeah, honestly, thank you for coming and hanging out with us on your Saturday afternoon, evening, depending upon where you are. It's a beautiful day, 1:50 p.m. for me currently. Like I said, wonderful way to spend the afternoon, watching some fantastic fights, hanging out with you guys. We really appreciate you being here and spending your time with us. And it looks like they had the damage just miscalculated. Some settings were just off. It's one of those things, margin for
Boo.
human error and all that stuff, but they're getting it figured out. What were you saying, Omni?
I said boo because you just delayed the time. We're going so fast. And
Yeah,
then
it
you
is
guys are
what
going
it
to
is.
have the damage wrong. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, man, you know what? Things happen, human error, and it looks like because of that change, the buffering issue is gone. So I'm pleased. Let's get
Yeah,
it underway, make sure everything is right, and I lied, or is it? That is the real question.
you had
That
to go and
is
say something.
unfortunate.
Everything was
You know
working
what? I
perfectly, and then Omni had to go and open his mouth, and here we are.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? I'll take full accountability for this. I should have just been quiet. But regardless. Hopefully, what we're going to see here is a classic matchup between Fight Night's Finest taking on Loso, and it just is just as big as it gets. This could have easily been the main event here. It truly could have.
Absolutely. Genuinely speaking, this could have, and most other nights would have been the main event. But all things considered, this is a fantastic co-main event, and I consider it just that, a co-main event, because once again, this is a top tier fight between two top caliber fighters, and both of these guys starting things off a bit slow, trying to get those jabs out there so they can make their reads. Fight Night's Finest looks to be hang on, sorry, that threw me off. Fight Night's Finest is using Joe Calzaghe, and it looks like, oh my goodness, Loso is using Sugar Ray off of his remote play so they can clinch. And there are other just slight nuances that you don't get whenever you do play online, just because there being some issues. They also have feints back, so this is gonna be a chess match in every sense of the word, because both guys have their staminas visible. This is going to be an interesting fight, but starting things off, both of them just trying to figure out what the other one's looking to do. Um, Loso looks to be more comfortable to get out onto the front foot and try to bait out some strikes from Fight Night's Finest, whereas Fight Night's Finest trying to get his offense out there, get some shots to the body, and just keep his range right now.
Yeah, I like it. It's certainly an opening move in chess. You just got to start by moving the pawns. That pawn could be your jab and a little bit of footwork. And the real thing is what comes next. What's the third, the fourth, the fifth move out of the opening that makes the difference and sets you up and limits your opponent's ability to make other moves, right? So
Right.
I like that they're starting off slow. They're not revealing a lot because that minimizes the damage. That was a good counter straight there from Fight Night's Finest. And that was honestly the most significant shot that I've seen in this whole round.
For
Good
certain,
stuff
and
here.
that's actually just what I was about to lead into. You had mentioned, this fight being a bit slower at a more deliberate pace that makes everything matter that much more. Both these guys aren't just coming out here putting their foot on the gas and trying to go a million miles an hour. Um, so like you said, every counter, every power shot, every big strike that lands seems to matter that much more, because whenever you get this high in skill, there's so much less margin for error that any mistake could be the most important, most fatal mistake that you make in a situation like this.
Yeah, absolutely. One wrong move inside of a chess match or a boxing match could lead to you getting your king captured. In this case, that'd be a KO, or even worse, a loss in the decision. Just utter domination. Let me progress and let me move my pawns and promote the queens, kings, knights, whatever is needed. I am bringing up a lot of chess here because I'm obsessed with chess as of lately. But at the
Hey,
same time, it really is and relates quite a bit to fighting because you do have to think moves ahead. And it looks like both of these guys are just trying to figure each other out and understand what sequence could potentially work for them.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love the clinching there from Loso. Just a good move. He was running out of stamina himself, trying to hang on to Calzaghe, tire him out just a little bit as well. And then he hit the hook to the body on the break. I love that. That's like you just said, that next step in the chess match. That's something else for him to think about. If he gets too close, now you got to worry. Is he going to try and clinch me? Is he going to do this? Is he going to do that? Again, just something else to think about in this sport, in this chess match, where there's already a million things that you've got to take into account. So many variables that you don't know.
And it's a good change of pace considering all of these fights, especially the previous one, is so high pace. And a lot of boxing matches can be that way, but a lot of boxing matches are just this. Somebody coming through, punching my block, and I'm looking to try to get a clean counter shot in, and I'm looking to try to set up my momentum. And that's exactly what we're seeing here on both sides. It looks like FightNightsFinest is doing a wonderful job here at burning the stamina of Sugar Ray Robinson with those, as you saw there, straight to the body. It lands as he exits the pocket, and we are done with the second round.
Yeah, both these guys doing a good job being judicious with their stamina, but it does seem to be FightNightsFinest who is getting out to that slight advantage, as you mentioned. Those shots to the body making a bit of difference. About 5% of difference, as we can see there on the numbers. Calzaghe sitting at 100% stamina versus Loso's 95. Again, 95% stamina is nothing to worry about.
Not round
unless
three,
your opponent has 100. It's just it's just one of those things where exactly, and he can see that. But both these guys are fighting smart, very, very smart. I'm curious to see who's going to get careless or maybe a bit impatient. Who's going to make that first mistake?
That is such a good point. It truly is.
Yeah, because in these situations, sometimes you get tired of waiting. Like, all right, man, come on, let's fight. And somebody's gonna go out there, and that opens you up to getting countered or to getting yourself out of position to eat a big shot. And then, as we've mentioned, in a fight like this, you never know when that next big shot is coming. They seem like they're starting to pick things up here just a little bit here at the start of round 3. But once again, neither guy getting too crazy and just letting too much stamina go. A big counter there lands for Calzaghe, but Robinson able to seemingly move with that punch and not take too much damage from it.
That's a good observation. I like to see that uppercut come from Loso. That attempt there did miss, but obviously we do understand that the jabs and the uppercuts on Sugar Ray Robinson are boosted, so utilizing them is to your advantage, and also striking while moving is an advantage as well. So this allows Loso to utilize Sugar Ray Robinson and do a bunch of different things. And again, we see a clinch, and he punches off of the break. That was very intelligent, very smart. I'd like to see them add an animation of the ref breaking up the clinches and potentially threatening to remove points. That would be really cool later on in the further developments.
Absolutely. Cool. There's still quite a bit to look forward to in the development life cycle of this game. It's been out about 6 months almost to the day, and there's still so far to go, which is the exciting part. Seeing things like this, it does make me excited for the future, because the clinch is a very important part of boxing. Some people might call it boring and this and that, and whenever somebody does it too much, of course it is, but I like the way that Loso is utilizing it. Again, just finding a way to try and mix up his own offense, because right now it does seem like Calzaghe is getting out to a bit of an advantage, particularly with the stamina. He's doing a great job of being a moving target, not being there to hit whenever Loso is trying to get his offense off. So if you drag him a little bit, slow him down, then he will be there, as the fight goes on in those later rounds. He will be there to hit and will, be able to take advantage. So I like that. I like the setup there.
Ooh, look at that, though. That he just burned out his stamina. I think a lot of that landed on the block.
It did, from the looks of it.
Right. Oh, but that right there, that landed cleanly, and that was a rear uppercut to the body of Joe Calzaghe. That might have been one of the most clean shots to the body that has actually landed there for Sugar Ray Robinson, Loso. And I think the stamina is coming into a bigger factor, and I think a big part of that is because he is throwing out so much to the block, but a lot is not landing here from Loso. I'd be very curious to see how this is how this goes getting later into the fight, because he still has a good amount of stamina, but I mean, it really is not landing much.
No, he's not. And Calzaghe is being very effective with his block. It seems like he's almost a step ahead of Loso, just because everything that he tries to land is just like you said, landing on the gloves or getting caught, by a punch that Calzaghe's throwing out. A lot of his shots are getting tied up, and not a lot is landing cleanly. Whereas Calzaghe seems to have landed more of the clean shots. Obviously, he hasn't been landing at the same clip that some of our other fights have, but he is still landing more clean. Now I say that, but he eats a nice left hook there from Sugar Ray
Commentator's
Robinson.
curse.
Exactly. That might be the most significant strike that Loso has landed thus far. And he's going to look to capitalize on that and build on it as we continue to move into the middle section of this fight. About 10 seconds left here in round 4 of a very close, very hotly contested fight, but one that I do have Fight Night's Finest ahead in thus far.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at Loso, right, his last fight that he won was decision. And I mean, I think every fight that he has won is by decision, other than maybe one. No, all's decisions, and it's the same coming from Fight Night's Finest. So when you see something like that, this is really a point matchup. These two fighters are very okay with point fighting, and this is interesting to see because it could mean that what we see in the tournament is that like a lot more point fighting. I'm kind of shocked we didn't see as many knockouts as we've had this week throughout the entire event, but that is boxing. The decisions happen a lot more than knockouts. So this is incredible here to see how these two point fighters interact with each other, and it's making for a very intriguing matchup, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And it looks like Loso is starting to make some adjustments to the style of Fight Night's Finest. Seems like he was having a bit more success here early on in the round. He's also doing a great job chopping that block down. Like we mentioned, a lot of those shots are landing on the glove, and now we're starting to see the effects that has been having throughout this fight, throughout these 5 rounds that they have been fighting. And we're going to see if he's able to continue to land on that block. And then, as we get into rounds 7, 8, 9, and 10, how much of the combo will his block be able to stand up to? Will we see shots starting to get through towards the ends of these combinations that Loso is throwing? He tried to get the clinch there, but just out of range. Good movement there from Fight Night's Finest to keep himself on the edge of Sugar Ray's range and just, like you had mentioned, doing a great job of point fighting, getting those jabs and those straights out of there and, firing them off whenever he's out of range. Some good shots landed there from Sugar Ray, though.
And here's that clinch that you were just talking about, but this time coming from Loso and trying to use it to his advantage so that he can land punches off of the break and another clinch just to end out the round. This is definitely close. This is very close. The damage is rather the same. The stamina is off, but not by much. Yeah, man. I don't know who's got this so far.
It's very difficult to score right now. Again, I've got Fight Night's Finest up, but this fight is so close. I mean, any major flurry, I think, could change the entire complexion of this fight. Just because both these guys are so reserved, they are so calculated, they are so deliberate with their offense that, like I said, any bit of separation could be massive.
That's true. That's very true.
See there, it seems like Fight Night's Finest has been fishing more with the body shots, and that could, of course, explain the differential in stamina. We saw between rounds, Calzaghe was sitting on 89% to Sugar Ray's 81%. Again, not a huge differential by any stretch of the imagination, of course. Not something that can't be made up, but it is something to think about, something to notice.
Yeah, I'm so... Look at that. Nice counter uppercut coming there from Fight Night's Finest. I love the respect that both of these guys have for each other. But one thing's for sure is that it does seem that their shots are very almost predictable. I'm not saying it from a perspective that I could predict it, but in a sense that they're both have such strong defense that, or at least Fight Night's Finest does, that he's able to see all these shots that are being thrown from Loso and he's blocking them effectively.
Yeah, and another thing I'm noticing from Fight Night's Finest, I've heard that movement is the first layer of defense, and his movement has been impeccable, to be honest, thus far in this fight. Even, he's noticed that Loso was trying to get some of those clinches off, so he's doing a great job of just not being in range whenever he tries to do that.
Ooh.
Good body shot lands right there, and to be honest, that might be enough to win him the round. That's the cleanest. Well, that and
Yeah.
another body shot that he had landed earlier in the round were the cleanest shots that landed that round. And now we're starting to see again that differential in stamina. Calzaghe sitting at 88 to Loso 77, and now we're starting to see that gap maybe starting to widen.
It definitely does seem that way. I mean, if CompuBox is to be trusted, this would be a very lopsided decision currently going toward Fight Night's Finest. My question, I guess, is if you're Loso, do you start to try to be a bully? I mean, but again, he's trying to do that. He's trying to make this an inside boxing match, but it's not working. And maybe you force the action toward you. Maybe you stand in the center and you don't walk toward him, and you make sure he comes to you and you frustrate him.
Yeah, make him sacrifice his own reach advantage, because right now that does seem to be a significant part of Fight Night's offense. He's got the longer arms with Joe Calzaghe, so he's using that to his advantage, getting a lot of those jabs and straights going, as we've seen quite a bit of today, and it's been effective. It's been working. So like you said, you would think he's got to try and get on the inside. I like what he's doing there, honestly, with the clinching to get the stamina down a little bit, and then just ripping the body, trying to get as much of his gas tank sapped as you can. I think that's a very smart move from Loso, but a huge left hook there is going to make him think about that coming in now.
Yeah, I mean, and prior to that, Loso was landing the jabs. It looks like the right side of Joe Calzaghe's face. I think I'm saying his name right. I think I am. Joe's face is getting a little bit more red because that jab and that lead hook is starting to become successful and is landing a little bit in this round, as far as I've seen.
Yeah,
and again,
just like that.
Just like that. And now the rear hand is starting to land. Loso seems to be starting to wear down that block, as you alluded to earlier, successfully. And this, I think, is a far better round for Loso compared to the other rounds we've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, obviously it all went by in kind of a blur, but I think he did enough to win that round.
Yeah.
Somebody watching this might be like, "Are you kidding me? Did you see that?" And obviously it all just kind of, we're watching and talking at the same time. It's hard to focus on the watching part. But no, in all seriousness,
is the perception. Yeah.
Yeah, in all seriousness, I think he did enough to win that round. He was able to land some good counters. Was able to, dictate the offense. But right now, again, Fight Night's Finest getting back to where he's able to do the brunt of his work, and that's on the outside. Floating around, kind of towards the ropes, letting Loso come into him, and then slipping and punishing. But again, Loso doing a good job getting on the inside, but then he eats that right hook for his troubles.
Man. And honestly, call me fanboy. Fight Night's Finest shows such a great boxing accolade inside of this game so far. And he has utilized his advantages and understood Loso so well, his opponent, to the point where now, he might be taking a little bit more damage, but he is landing so many counter shots, and it just looks very clean. It's a very clean matchup between both of these guys. I really enjoy this kind of matchup. It might be a little slow to other people's liking, but that's the point. It's because it's a little slower and it's deliberate. It's calculated movements that is making this so masterful, and it's a pleasure to be able to watch these guys fight like this. Nice straight shot lands from Loso.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's any wasted movement from either of these fighters. Both these guys are, like you said, very deliberate. Both are throwing everything with purpose, right? There's not any just like, okay, let me just throw some BS out there and just see if it lands like Derek Lewis. Both these guys have a plan for every shot they're throwing, like that counter right there from Fight Night's Finest, like that counter right there from Loso. They're both just picking the shots very well, but even whenever he's being more aggressive, Fight Night's Finest is still I don't want to just keep saying deliberate, but still very choosy with what shots he is throwing. It's fun to watch.
He's heading ahead. Yeah, I mean, again, in a chess match, maybe we consider him be the white piece, and he's wow. You know what? Yeah, maybe we consider him be the white piece. He's going first, right? And he's yes, we love chess, and he went first, and he's just ahead. He's always going to be ahead because he went first, and maybe that's just one of those things.
It could be, but he also, you know, has to be careful of avoiding any traps that he might walk into. You know, you never know what Loso has up his sleeve as we enter round. Is that 9? Sorry, it looks a little fuzzy on my side. Okay, yeah. So as we enter round 9, yeah, very close matchup, but it's one that I think FightNightsFinest right now is cruising his way to a decision victory in. We'll see if Loso's able to turn up that heat and maybe get himself a knockdown and knockout, and you know, get himself back in the driver's seat here.
Yeah, I think that's what it's gonna take, and it's unfortunate because all season you've edged your way through, you've won all these decisions, but now that you've fought against the finest, it seems as though you've met your match, at least in this scenario. So it would be a shame if I was Loso thinking this, to go into the tournament as 5-1 and not 6-1. And look at that, he did a taunt, switched his stance, and came back, and now we're seeing FightNightsFinest start to be a lot more loose, and he is becoming a little bit more aggressive here with his footwork. I guess it's all just to own the center here. It's a little hard to tell, but I think he's toying around with Loso a bit here.
I think he knows that he's, you know, gotten off to that stamina advantage. Now Loso's block has also been shredded. I think he's starting to, you know, feel like he's largely avoided the danger and now can start to loosen up and try and add some style points to what is looking like a victory he's on the way to here. Of course, we don't know what the judges have been seeing. We don't know what they've been scoring, but right now it looks like, you know, FightNightsFinest knows that he is on his way to victory. And again, it's just trying to put a little swag on it. So we'll see if he's able to do that. 10 seconds left here in round 9. We've got one more round to determine this fight.
That we do. One more round. We're going to get to take a chance to look at CompuBox one last time here in the 10th round. And on top of that, all of this, Toon Squad might be 1-1 tonight, and then it'll be up to Pryoxis to see if we can get them to 2-1. And that is a lot closer than I could have ever imagined. Now
much
I'm
closer.
Very confused.
Wow, exactly. Like
I'm so confused.
I thought those were, I'm not gonna say clear FightNightsFinest rounds, but I thought that he had won each of those last 3 rounds. Judges said no. So
that's amazing.
That is, and now we've got what's gonna happen here, because if we end up in a draw, like then what? Although if we end up in a draw, how do you think Loso feels about that? Currently undefeated, a draw, you've still never been beaten. So, I mean, do you still like? What would be your thought process in that position?
I'm undefeated, man. I mean, I'm that good that you know what? I don't take losses. I take draws. I mean, at the end of the day, Loso and FightNightsFinest, both of them are highly ranked. I mean, FightNightsFinest guaranteed, and so is Loso.
And that was a beautiful pull counter.
Yeah. So this is really close to call, man. I don't know.
And I don't know if you saw it, but there was a bit in there where Calzaghe's head health popped up. So he might have been taking more damage than we had previously thought. Or, you know, Robinson was just landing some really good shots like that left hook that he just popped up top there. Another pull counter almost lands. And it's looking like Loso's starting to find himself a rhythm. Is it just a case of too little too late? As we have 30 seconds left here in the 10th and final round, and he catches a massive uppercut. That is not what he was wanting, as he was here trying to turn this fight around, very close to doing just that, but then gets caught by a massive shot by Joe Calzaghe. 10 seconds left in this fight, and anything can still happen here, folks. How is this fight going to end? 2 massive shots from both these guys. Big counters here as we end the fight. Both guys still swinging. How's this going to play out on the cards? Joe Calzaghe gets the decision win, takes it's Loso's O away from him as he goes into the tournament now with momentum, and a lot of eyes on him after a fantastic performance here. FightNightsFinest did a great job of just managing the distance, managing the danger, and keeping himself out of harm's way for the most part. Majority decisions, so still a very close fight. I wish we could take an extended look at, fight totals and things like that. It looks like,
Because
it's
this
just
was
not
very
quite going to be an option. Yeah, it was a very close fight. I wanted to
wow.
see, just how things shook out, what judges looked at, what rounds. But again, that's something we'll have to take a look at a different time. Fantastic co-main event. Hats off to both performers. It's Loso and FightNightsFinest both put on a fantastic fight, very deliberate chess match. And I'm hoping we get more of the same here in our main event, Ruthless Omni. It is time. We have EyeGameUWatch. We have Pryoxis. These guys using the greatest of all time and the greatest of modern time, Muhammad Ali versus Tyson Fury. What are we expecting from this fight here, Omni? This is going to be a banger, if I say so myself.
Oh, truly a banger. Now, here's the thing. Pryoxis has and you can see it in tournaments inside of the ESFL over the years when it comes to UFC. He has come together with a string of victories. And that's awesome. And this is what happens. Pry goes through and he gets a bunch of victories. I think then it gets to the point where he gets under the spotlight, and then sometimes it becomes a lot for him. Now he's in the main event, and he can prove me wrong. He can prove everyone wrong and show, hey, you know what? I'm game, and I can make it happen, man. Not only can I make it happen, but I'm the guy that everyone thinks I am. I'm that guy that has over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube because I'm that good. And then he's now going against EyeGameUWatch, who in his own right has been on a string of victories, unfortunately losing to Loso by a decision in the last fight. And both of these guys, all it takes is a win here, and they potentially are going to be #1 seed. Either way, they're both going into the qualifier for the tournament. So high stakes, high momentum building matchup for the winner.
Absolutely.
I can't wait.
I mean, by all rights, and I'm not trying to overlook anybody or look ahead or anything, this potentially could be what the finals of the tournament looks like. Again, not trying to discount anybody or anything like that. It's just both these fighters have such a high pedigree on this stage. Both of them have turned in fantastic performances before our very eyes here in the ESFL Undisputed League. And both of them are looking to, really put that final cherry on top of the season, get themselves in the #1 seed. It's still wide open. If we, I'm taking a look right now at the standings. Royszn is currently in the #1 spot, but Pryoxis and EyeGameUWatch are both tied right there in second. Royszn has 11 points. Pryoxis and EyeGameUWatch both have 10 points. The winner of this, especially if they get a knockout, can really cement themselves in that top spot at the #1 seed and have all eyes on them going into our tournament. So a lot on the line here as we get things started, Omni.
Right. And this, as you just called it before, could be the main event of the ESFL Undisputed Grand Finale tournament. And I mean, as it should be. And this is an incredible matchup, the greatest of all time and the current greatest of all time in the heavyweight division. I like the pace that is being set already by these two. We're underway, man. Look at this. Nice body hook there.
Yeah, very smart with their shot selection. Just like we saw in the last fight, they're in that feeling out process. Pryoxis landing more at the moment. It looks like EyeGameUWatch is trying to figure out where his opening is going to be and how to barge through that. Again, the footwork of Ali is so good that you can dance around all day. You can do what you want to and try to find that opening until you figure out when it is. Ooh. But then, gets caught with two nice body hooks there. He's going to have to be careful of that as this fight goes forward, because as we both know, Pryoxis is so good at reading patterns. If he finds your rhythm, if he gets you time, good luck.
Yeah, man, you talk about somebody who would probably be good at chess. It certainly would be Pryoxis. I don't know if he plays it, but this guy here truly does. Yep, and that is like my 100th chess reference. And this guy here is going to is is
It's all
he's
good.
definitely looking to counter. I got thrown off guard.
It's all good. I know what to get you for your
Yeah,
birthday at least.
yeah,
Got a
please.
hot
I
chess set
got
with
one.
Omni's name on it. But yeah, no, these guys really getting into it. EyeGameUWatch also very good in his own right, doing a fantastic job of working the body of Tyson Fury, trying to, even things up here in this first round. I feel like Pryoxis was able to get some good offense off in the beginning, and now here towards the end of the round, EyeGameUWatch is starting to turn the heat up a little bit. Very even, very close first round. Very interesting to see how the judges scored that one.
Yeah, the left swelling is showing up there under Tyson Fury's eye for good reason. You're seeing a lot of the right hand from Muhammad Ali, which at one point was was a meta, which was I can throw 5 right hands to your face and then you just go down. And it for again good reason. Muhammad Ali nasty with his hook, and he is landing that flush against Pryoxis. So Pry is going to need to be a little bit more defensive against that.
It starts things off with a nice right hook to the body. EyeGameUWatch gets a nice body jab back in response. And again, just trying to find their openings. Both guys using their footwork very well. Both have very long reaches and are just trying to figure out where the best way to use that is. Pryoxis glanced a bit on that left hook, almost got the other one, but lands a big right hand up top, and Ali's gonna have to watch for that as this fight goes on. But doing a good job just trying to stay out of range for the most part. Doing a very good job doing the all the way out, all the way in style of fighting right now is EyeGameUWatch.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to throw that diagonal movement either. He's looking to catch Pryoxis as he's throwing, and maybe that's why Pry has not been so keen to make those punches thrown, because he doesn't want to get caught like that.
You also got to wonder, does Pry think he's seeing an accommodation? Does he think he's seeing a pattern, and he's starting to try to figure out how to time those body hooks so that he slips into one? But a nice exchange there. EyeGameUWatch was able to get a couple of good shots there and then get himself out of range. And then we see Pryoxis starting to use that diagonal movement, but eats a nice left hook to the body from EyeGameUWatch as he's in the midst of that movement. And now both these guys trading body hooks. Big left up top from EyeGameUWatch.
Man, it really does look like EyeGameUWatch is landing a lot more than Pry is at this point. He is just in and out, floating like a butterfly and stinging like a bumblebee.
I wonder who said that.
It's
but yeah, no, these guys are trading here.
Bite, they don't sting. I'd ruin that.
Do they really?
Yeah, Bumblebee will bite you. I guess they can sting you, but they don't really. Like a regular bee, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. If the bumblebees, cute. They're the fuzzy ones.
Okay,
I appreciate that.
I was today years old and I learned that female bumblebees can sting, male bumblebees cannot. Your insectology today in the middle of a boxing fight. Anyway, after 2 rounds, this fight has been very, very close, very even. And it looks like EyeGameUWatch is switching to southpaw. That's an interesting strategy here. I don't think I've ever seen anybody do that with Ali. And he's like, what am I doing? Goes back to orthodox after eating a big power jab from Fury.
Yeah, he's like, get out of that. Don't do
what
that.
Are you doing? Schmack. Oh, and another big power jab.
Yeah, and then he pulls up his trunks. I like that little subtle animation there. After he just punches you right in the face, he pulls up his trunks.
He's got that Dustin Poirier mess with his shorts habit on.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's where he gets Dustin Poirier knocked out. And now, man, I like this. The range is starting to become, probably starting to understand that range and throwing the jab before EyeGameUWatch comes in. And a straight shot, stunning, lands, and that was nasty.
I like the way EyeGameUWatch is switching his stance and, also starting to figure out the timing on those jabs and those straights so he could get that diagonal movement into that body hook that he just landed. And once again, able to do it, able to do the same. Pryoxis has got to be careful throwing those jabs out unless he's got something else up his sleeve that he's, maybe he's like, all right, figure out the next read and trying to bait out that movement. And we'll see. We'll have to see, how what reads these guys are able to make. I'm getting tongue-tied because I'm enthralled by the matchup that we're seeing. You know, these guys are so good at punch, counter punch, and then read, counter read. It's just the adjustments that are being made within the adjustments that I'm finding interesting, right?
That is true. I mean, there certainly has been adjustments being made by both of these guys here. That right there though has been the telling story. That diagonal movement and then landing the right hand, it has been all she wrote there from EyeGameUWatch. It's all that he's been looking to do, and it's been effective at some point. And then you take a look here at Pryoxis's health and his stamina, and it hasn't been that effective, surprisingly. Let's see what CompuBox thinks.
They think the opposite. They think it's been very effective.
Yes,
yeah, through 3 rounds, the CompuBox predicted scorecard has EyeGameUWatch up 3 rounds to none. We'll see if that plays, any effect on how these guys try to navigate this fight going forward. Is Pryoxis going to be more aggressive, or is he just going to continue to fight with the same style and try to let EyeGameUWatch come in and catch him on the entry? He's been having pretty good success doing just that, Omni, but at the same time, EyeGameUWatch has been landing a lot of those right hooks to the body, gets a good shot up top, and then gets himself out of the way there.
Yeah, Pry's clearly seeing that and starting to time that left hand for the diagonal lunge, which is why he's throwing that left hand so much. And you're seeing how well it's and how close it's timed to that diagonal lunge. And we're probably going to see another diagonal lunge momentarily. Imagine to maybe circle out, or maybe I get see right there. Yep. My thought was that he started to understand that it's being seen. And that's a good jab and straight there from Pryoxis. Good stuff.
And you got to think, see, that's what I'm talking about, the adjustments, right? So he knows that movement is coming. So I guess he's trying to bait it out, and by doing his way of doing so is throwing straight punches, so that he knows that his opponent will. I know what I'm trying to say. It's having a hard time getting from here to here, but he knows that his opponent is going to be doing those slips and making those moves, so he's throwing the straight to bait it out, and then he can throw the hook to the body to try and counter, is what I was trying to say in a more concise manner, I suppose.
Or simply chess. He's trying to move the head.
Damn it.
There it is. There's the chess.
We're going to have to get you a little timer.
It's hilarious, man. But what I mean by that simply is just thinking moves ahead is what you're trying to do, right? I know that if I keep throwing these jabs and these straights, that this man is going to go and try to lunge out of the way. So I'm going to make him think I'm going to throw this jab and straight, and I'm going to throw a hook, and hopefully, or maybe I predicted well enough, you're going to lean right into it. See, there's the jab, and then he goes through. He's probably look for another jab, and then he's going to wait until he throws that diagonal before he throws the hook. See? Like that, because now he's engaging. But I like EyeGameUWatch is now switched up, and he hasn't thrown that I stand correctly. He's now doing it. I thought he was switching it up a little bit, but he is. That's the way he likes to move toward his opponent, is not, directly. He likes to move side to side, and that is a good way to get inside of your opponent's reach.
Yeah, but the thing is, it seems like right now Pryoxis is figuring out, we're starting to see that counter flash pop up a lot more whenever Fury is throwing. At least, as I am seeing here, minute and a half down in the 5th round. It's starting to seem like Pryoxis is getting the timing of his opponent and starting to figure out what strikes are more effective and when they're more effective, because that's, I feel like, almost more important than what you're throwing is when you throw it.
Right.
He's trying to get the read on those on that lateral movement by throwing the body shots, but EyeGameUWatch makes his own adjustment and isn't there whenever those counter shots are coming back.
Nice. They both trade hooks, one to the body from Pry and one to the head from EyeGameUWatch.
Ooh, a big left hook there lands from both fighters, actually.
Yeah. Another one. Wow, he just sidestepped all of those jabs. That was impressive.
It was.
And then
Did a good
lands
job.
2 right hands flush on Muhammad. He did get caught there, but he landed his own shots. That's awesome.
Yeah, the defensive prowess on display by Pryoxis is, well, it's impressive. Doing a fantastic job keeping themselves largely out of danger. But EyeGameUWatch, always crafty, always creative. He's doing a good job of still finding ways to get past that block, get past that defense, and land his own offense. Again, just not with the consistency that he's used to. You got to wonder if that's going to start to play a part and maybe frustrating EyeGameUWatch. He's used to having his way with his opponents. He's used to being able to, get his dances off and all that stuff. But right now, he's got to be entirely focused up, and he's still catching right straights to the face like that one from Tyson Fury.
Yeah, he says you like them so much, you can have another one. And then he delivers it to him free of charge.
And you always got to wonder what that does to a guy's mental, when he's used to being the hammer, and now I'm not going to say he's the nail, at least not yet, but Pryoxis is definitely starting to find his rhythm, as we're seeing here in round 6. You got to wonder what that's doing to him, whenever he's used to being the one that's got the advantage. Now he's having to fight from behind. What's going through his head? Throw the right hand, clearly. And that worked out pretty well for him in that exchange.
Tried to do it again there, but that time it did not land as flush. An uppercut attempt coming from Pry. And I think that, it is a bit frustrating, right? Because, but I don't know if Pry is noticing, like he's trying to throw the hook. I see it, but when the diagonal movement is coming around, the range isn't right. So it's points. It might be landing, but it's not doing as much damage as Pry would be hoping.
Right.
It is definitely slowing him down, and it's making him think before he just starts doing that diagonal movement here and there.
Yeah, Pryoxis is doing a great job of not only mixing in those hooks to the body, but throwing those power straights just whenever his opponent doesn't seem to be ready for him. It seems like he's expecting something else and then just eating that power jab or that power straight. With relative consistency here through 6 rounds as we enter round 7.
And there are dead even coming into that, and that makes perfect sense.
Yes, it does.
In the earlier round, EyeGameUWatch was nice. EyeGameUWatch was successful with that diagonal movement and landing a lot of hooks. And then the adjustment came from Pryoxis, which was I'm going to start countering just like that. When you go to do something, that with a diagonal movement or you throw a shot, I'm going to use my reach, which is longer, and I'm going to land against you. And so that is what has made Pryoxis from the last 3 rounds consecutively. The real question now is, can EyeGameUWatch switch up his strategy and start to find a good opening? I like that he's keeping his hands up now, and he's not fighting so aggressively, and he's trying to look for a way to land his own shots. Maybe throw that jab. That might be useful. I haven't really seen the jab much from EyeGameUWatch in this round.
One thing I'm liking that I'm seeing from Pryoxis is he's mixing up his approaches. He'll step to you and then not throw anything. You get your hands up, and then he'll back out, and he'll approach again, and then throw a power jab to the body. But on the next approach, he's throwing a hook to the head. Or the next approach it's a straight to the. You don't know what's coming, and I feel like he's doing a great job of mixing that in. And EyeGameUWatch seems to be having a bit of trouble with that, figuring out what's coming next and how to approach it. So I like the switch to southpaw just to see if that switches up Pryoxis' rhythm, but also gives him something else to think about, another look to have to worry about.
That's a good point.
Yeah, EyeGameUWatch is doing a great job of not being married to one style. He's figuring out, okay, this isn't working. Let me try something else. But he takes a big left hook to the top for his troubles and another one down low. But again, he's willing to try new things. I'm liking that. Maybe he'll figure out some hole in the armor of Pryoxis right now, because Tyson Fury. Pryoxis is doing a great job right now of just being one step ahead defensively, and you're seeing EyeGameUWatch having a bit of trouble with that. So I'm curious to see what adjustments he makes here in these last 3 rounds to try and figure things out.
Yeah, I think Pry's goal here is to redeem Toon Squad with Tyson Fury, with Jay and such. And now he's doing that very effectively. Jay had a good showing as well. But the thing is, what we're really missing here from EyeGameUWatch, and granted, and correct me if I'm wrong, I really don't see him throwing anything but rounded strikes. He's got straights. He's got jabs, man. I mean, the jab of Muhammad Ali is extremely effective. It will also stop the momentum and the rhythm of Pryoxis, and I'm not really seeing that other than that one that he just threw to the body there. But I think that was just to throw him off balance. I mean, it worked, but that's the point.
Now
Keep throwing the jabs. Awesome. Maybe he heard me. Throw your jabs, man. Throw jabs and start to set up your feet. Set your feet and let him walk into you. And then if he's not walking into you, walk forward just a second. The same thing he's doing to you. Make the fight dynamic. Use your footwork. Winning in the footwork battle can really change how everything is going for you right now. And we are in round 8 with a minute left.
Yeah, and we're seeing Pryoxis being more aggressive here as the fight wanes down. Minute left in round 8. You see him really starting to let go, but he ends up getting caught by that right hook, and now Ali is just burning all of his stamina. I don't think I would advise that, but hey, I'm not in there. Yeah, he just started letting those hooks fly, and we're gonna see if that ends up being detrimental to him as we, again, get towards the closing moments of this round and the last stages of this fight. There's about 2 rounds left, and neither guy has been hurt yet, but both guys have been landing at a pretty decent clip on each other. It's just right now Pryoxis seems to be having the advantage in both accuracy and the amount of power shots he's landed so far on me.
That's straight. That's right, man. I mean, going into the 9th round now, next round, we get to see what CompuBox says. That was a good straight shot there. Now we're seeing that diagonal movement return here from EyeGameUWatch.
Starting to add the head movement as well.
Yes, he is. He's mixing it up a bit. And this is a good observation you made earlier. You were saying that he was trying new things. That's exactly what you got to do. And look at that, setting your feet, not allowing yourself to be bullied, man. And doing that using that footwork of Muhammad Ali is very important. He lands a nice check left hook to the head, and now he lands another one. He did just get caught though to the body. Pry notices, oh, you're gonna move your body around a lot like that. Well, I'm gonna start throwing some shots and try to catch you as you do it.
Yeah, it's also looking like he's starting to have an effect on that stamina pool of EyeGameUWatch, because it seems like some of these combinations are, oh my goodness, he's not able to extend them as much as he would like to, it seems like. And Pryoxis is landing to the body almost at will right now. A nice 2-piece right there, and then gets a straight to the top as well. Ooh, I mean, EyeGameUWatch is doing everything he can. It's just right now Pryoxis seems to be operating, at a different level. He just seems to be, so cognizant of every shot coming back. His defense is what I can't say enough about. Like, he is getting caught by, a few of these shots, but it's not like anything major and significant is landing on Tyson Fury at this moment.
Yeah, I mean, he did have a good showing earlier. Oh, nice. But that was a counter jab to the body. A little too late. I think that maybe it would have been better if he was able to get a little bit more body shots off, because now, I mean, as you alluded to before, I think the stamina is a little lower for EyeGameUWatch. Nice right hand as he exits the pocket. That's awesome footwork there. And we are coming into the 10th and final round of the main event tonight. Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Last round of the last fight. And man, we've had a fantastic event. Make sure that you guys are subscribed on YouTube, following on Twitch, ESFL Gaming. Make sure that you guys, if you want to be part of this, join our Discords, all of that good stuff. We're going to make sure we get all that information to you guys. But yeah, make sure you, react, show us some love here in the final round of this fight, this major main event fight, to see how things are going to shake out in the ESFL Undisputed Grand Finale Tournament 2 weeks from today. And thank you to CFESA for sponsoring all of these amazing fights. Again, shout out to you guys. Make sure you guys scan the QR codes and get all of that great information about those great people. Once again, all of that nonprofit. They're just doing that because they want to help out. So show them some love. Thank you guys. All right. A minute into this round, after I've done all of our plugging, and these guys are just getting to the business. just
We had
both
fun,
guys.
man.
Neither one wants to just rest on their laurels and just, you know, obviously I don't think anybody's getting knocked out. We haven't even had a knockdown, but neither one wants to just kind of coast into that decision. Both guys want to make that case of the judges in what is still a very close fight, a very close round. EyeGameUWatch lands a big counter left there and a right hand behind it.
Yeah, I mean, it is extremely close, especially after that last round. If you are to believe CompuBox, this could end in a draw, depending on if EyeGameUWatch can edge out and win this round. Pride really needs to push forward and put pressure on EyeGameUWatch and start to land consecutively if he doesn't want this to potentially become a draw. I mean, granted, it could also end decision, but we are coming to the last 5 seconds of this card.
Yeah, last 5 seconds. Both these guys just trying to put on some finishing touches for the judges, but a very close fight. What do we have here? Tyson Fury gets the win. Pryoxis is able to edge out the decision. And I want to take a look at those scorecards if we're able to, man, because that had to have been an extremely close fight. Those judges had a hard time. I am not envious of them. Yeah, extremely close. One judge did indeed have a draw, but 96-94 on the other two scorecards. The health and stamina numbers are very telling, though. You know, I think the percentages, the accuracy is what ended up boosting Tyson Fury on the, not Tyson Fury, Muhammad Ali on the scorecards, but Pryoxis outlanded him by almost 40 punches. He had a 30% stamina advantage. The health was much closer. A very close fight in general. Fantastic performance by both guys, and I know that EyeGameUWatch is going to be looking to try and get that back in the tournament because, of course, he is still firmly cemented in that. If we have a chance, can we take a look at the standings, the rankings right now, just to kind of see what things are looking like? Okay, so we've got our final bracket. We're gonna go ahead and take a look-see at that if we can get that. I don't see it on my screen. I apologize, but you guys are getting a look at it right there.
It's fantastic.
So yeah, we're gonna see how, just how these matchups play out as everything shakes out, like we said.
Well, when you talk about the standings as of right now, and when you're taking a look here at this bracket, this makes perfect sense. Round number 1, Pryoxis taking on KYoungButta, which granted, that is, KYoungButta ends up getting the 8th and final seed inside of the tournament. I know he was frustrated and he left. He's still a great competitor. Act honorably. I hope he's watching this, man. We get frustrated. Let's keep our emotions in check. We like to go through and we like to finish our rounds, man. So,
Yeah.
going
On
forward,
that same side of the bracket, sorry, I'll just, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
On the same side of the bracket, we've got Addict 85 taking on Loso, and that should be a very interesting fight. Those winners, of course, will take on each other. On the other side of the bracket, we've got FightNightsFinest taking on EyeGameUWatch, who we just saw come up just short in the main event, but still put on a very, very good showing, and that's going to be a very tough fight for both of those competitors. Then we got Royszn taking on UncleTalent, and wait a second. Okay, never mind. I thought they fought today. I had to go take another look back. Yeah, those two should have a very interesting matchup as well. And of course, those winners will face off. And of course, it's just standard tournament, single elimination. That, of course, will take place 2 weeks from today, right here on ESFL Gaming. And Omni, do you have anything else that you wanted to say before we headed out?
I appreciate you guys having me here. I love doing commentary, and if you have not followed or subscribed to either our YouTube or our Twitch channel, please go ahead and do so now. Appreciate having you all.
Yeah, absolutely. We loved having you guys out here, and we look forward to seeing you guys 2 weeks from today for the ESFL Undisputed Grand Finale Tournament right here on ESFL Gaming. Until then, we will see you guys next time. Take it easy.
Peace out.
You think you got rid of us that easy? Ah, psych. No, in all seriousness, there's a bit of housekeeping on our end that we forgot to do. We forgot to award our fight of the night. How could we make such an oversight, Omni?
You know what, man? It happens. It's been such a great card, and we just like moving toward the future. That's what it is.
It does. And we blew through it so fast. But I do think, at least from my personal opinion, I think our fight of the night should be Royszn and KYoungButta. Even though KYoungButta left after he got knocked out, I still got to, hey, man, don't do that. And I won't have to do this. I still think that Royszn should be rewarded. And, it takes two to tango. So they did have a great fight until the very end. But I think all things considered, it was still worthy of being fight of the night. Do you have any objection?
I think it was a masterclass from both those guys, really trying to see who could edge it out. And in the end, Royszn ended up doing that and won himself this number 2 seed as a result of a knockout, and then pissed off KYoungButta to make him quit. So honorably, I think that should be the fight of the night, and it deserves it. It was great. It was amazing. Tempers flaring, high emotions. It was awesome.
One that you love to win and hate to lose, as they say. But yeah, we just had to make sure that we got that bit of info out there for you guys. Sorry that we missed it the first time. But yeah, once again, join us here 2 weeks from today, where we will not forget to award fight of the night, and we will not forget to award the winner of our tournament, the ESFL Undisputed Grand Finale Tournament, 2 weeks from today, August 13th. Be there. We will see you guys then. Take it easy, for real this time.